That's a good intro to the episode. Arizona is relatively crappy.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 5th episode, I believe, of the third season of Second Sons. As always, I'm Roy Rogers. Joining me today, live from a porn studio, is everyone's favorite Avery Brooks fill-in, Sandy Barnabas. How are you doing today, Sandy?
What the fuck reference was that?
Deep Space Nine. Watch some Star Trek. Be cultured.
Yeah, Star Trek culture. That's what I'm missing.
That's real culture. All right. How you doing, Sandy?
I'm doing well. It's good to be back. I think I missed a week. My fans were very disappointed.
You and me both.
Yeah.
We also,
from what I gathered,
Aaron is not allowed to talk in this segment, so Aaron is also with us today. And then is former North American champion and big fan of baseball, Chris Schoenthal. How you doing, Chris?
Doing well. Just got back from the desert, seeing some spring training games, catching some rays. It was good.
Cool. And then last but definitely not least, our tech man and taking a break from plundering the virtual seas, Buzz. How you doing, Buzz?
Well, not so good now. I was a pirate, and now I'm like some tech guy.
Just coming down. It's the problem of the 21st century. Our fantasy lives are too rich, and now we're here back in this poor reality.
But can you see the new overlay? It's beautiful.
I have not seen the new overlay because my internet can't handle the stream being on and Skyping. But I will see it.
You're the only one who watches our episodes.
I will get around to seeing it. So we are back. We have almost a full crew. Sid was briefly in the episode before we went live and then had to flee. So we're one man down.
It's almost like Alexa was yelling at him.
It's almost like Alexa was yelling at him. Yes. And so we almost are back to a full crew, but we'll get there. It is good to be back. It feels like I haven't done this in forever, we have a lot of news. So where do we want to start off, gentlemen? Where do we want to start off? Do we want to start out with happy news or unhappy news? Or, well, I think some news is happy.
Well, let's start with this. Start somewhere. Jesus Christ, you're the host.
We'll start with the unhappy news. So U.S. Nationals, right now, is, as far as we know, not happening. ETX, sadly, is not hosting Nationals this year. It's not running this year at all. Aaron, do you still have Patrick? Do you have something to say?
So Patrick Day, who was going to be the host of ETX, he was the host of Nationals last year, which is honestly the reason we give a shit about Nationals. Nationals and Thrones is a relatively new thing, and the first year was a disaster. Patrick says, and he said this to me as we were just discussing it, and I was like, dude, I'm quoting you, and he gave me permission. So every time I was about to announce ETX was dead, someone swooped in with a way for it to survive. Ultimately, one of those plans panned out. The nonprofit thing, if you missed his post. But too late to do the expo itself this year. What is that background sound?
I don't know.
Okay,
all right, someone's breaking something. But one of those plans panned out, but too late to do the expo itself this year. At the level people... At the level... Anytime, guys. We are professional. At the level, people would leave with a positive impression. Now, I'm not going to have people fly out and spend a bunch of money on a rushed, half-assed event. And in fairness, I appreciate that. Like, he couldn't do it right. He tried to do it. He did everything in his power, legally and otherwise, to make it happen, and then it didn't. So now it has to be the company that owns the game's responsibility to make sure that we get a Nationals.
Oh, dear.
Oh, sorry, you were serious.
It is. I'm glad that Patrick is able to find something that works for ETX in the long term, and I'm really sad that it's not going to be the U.S. Nationals is not going to be at ETX again to sort of build on the momentum that he built last year. I'm really worried about if we will have a U.S. Nationals this year, since it's back in the hands of FFG OP, and they didn't. After Patrick made this announcement, OP didn't send anything out saying at the very least like, "Hey, expect news," or things. And I know a lot of members of the community have reached out to try to get either A, get Nationals to their community, or B, find out more information about what FFG's plans are. And there's been radio silence so far, which is, again, going back to an old theme on our show.
I mean,
not to be an apologist for FFG, but it's certainly not like them. So FFG is not great at having a plan. For us to expect them to have two plans, like a regular plan and a backup plan, is like pretty absurd. So the fact that they didn't have anything right out of the gate after they were told like a week ago that their original Nationals plan wasn't going to work isn't too surprising to me.
Yes, but it's not hard to when you don't know what's happening. It's not hard to send out a tweet going, "We'll let you know as soon as we do. We'll keep you updated," or like to build a stock reply, right? Like, because that's what we do when we're running late and we're the most incompetent people in the world. Like, we can handle that.
Sure, but we're incompetent but communicative, which is something they're not.
They're incompetent and incommunicative, which we've said in the past on this show is the actual problem. If they were terrible but polite, we wouldn't be so mad.
It's truth.
Does anybody else have any thoughts? All right. We'll do a quick poll, though.
I do.
Go ahead, Sandy. Yeah.
I think that, like, maybe Nationals should be a community-run event. I think it was for a little while in some of the European countries. Buzz, do you know for sure?
I mean,
or am I just making that up?
I mean, I ran Nationals 1 year. Samuel ran it last year. But
I think, like, Polish Nationals is Fracas.
oh yeah.
I think that works. That works when you're not getting direct kits from FFG. Like we are basically directly under their thumb, whereas theirs is through a secondary distributor that probably cares even less than FFG does.
Yes.
So if they just make the kit that FFG tells them to, and then giving it to the community is a boon for them, whereas FFG wants control.
I mean, we haven't.
Samuel had the kit though, right?
Oh yeah, we have kits, but we have it
Sure,
through.
they get real kits.
We have it through our own distributor, and I mean, you were approaching where we were a few years ago, where we didn't have Nationals in all the countries, and the distributors didn't care, so we convinced them, okay, make FFG send you kits, and we'll handle everything, and that's where we're at now. And I mean, it's not a far stretch for you to get there, right?
Was it last episode or 2 episodes ago where we discussed ultimately us taking over OP?
It's a bunch of episodes, I can tell you from.
I mean, every single episode.
Fair enough.
But I think it's 2 episodes ago, yeah.
Okay, so that decision just becomes like the more this goes, like we could, if they don't figure out U.S. Nationals, this FFG employees that happen to be listening, because we know you're there. This is not like a weird threat, but like we can actually, if they don't fucking figure out U.S. Nationals, we should make a push to actually take care of this, right? Like we should lead a push. So this is like they're like, hey guys, it's in your court. This is a very obvious thing you can do to show us you're not totally incompetent and give a shit about this game. And if not, then we might as well make a community push to just take everything over.
I mean, theoretically, it makes sense to me this year for them to kick it to the community or a pre-existing community or convention event that runs a Game of Thrones thing, because that's the least amount of work for them this year, right? Like if they do it at the event center, they then have to, I mean, it's only 2 games, right? It's only national, or 3, I guess, Rune War, Netrunner, and Thrones. But they would still need to get the staff, make their designers take extra days, blah 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 blah. While instead they kick it to Kubla or they give it to some other particular like long running convention that doesn't necessarily have this, or make a traditional like regional location, just do it. Like that's a lot less work for FFG this year, and then they will have a whole nother year to figure out what their plans would be, whether it's going to stay with Patrick at ETX or travel or go back to Origins or go to PAX East or whatever, like whatever they want to do. My gut feeling is that OP is just gonna if Nationals exist this year, it's just gonna be at the event center. But I hope
would be disappointing.
I hope that they decide.
You know what?
That
genuinely, with announcement and promotion, while that's not ideal, it's at least a fucking solution. I'm not asking for a good solution at this point. I just want a solution.
Yeah, I agree.
I would actually be very impressed if they got their stuff together in time to do that.
They have 4 months.
Yeah, I think Origins.
They could do it in June. 3 months.
Because if they're already going to be at Origins, they had it at Origins once already.
Is Origin still like tournament friendly? I heard it was really hard to run an event there.
Right, but it was really hard for the community to run an event there because they had sublet to Cascade Games, and the left hand of Cascade Games didn't know what the right hand of Fantasy Flight was doing in terms of communicating about games that weren't named Star Wars. So that was CT's problem. But if FFG stepped in and said, hey, Cascade, can you also just add EGOT Nationals onto your already existing slate of FFG games, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yep. But I mean,
there's a lot of actual real potential solutions and options that we can all come up with for this. Like, every single person here, including me, which is sad, is competent enough to figure out a real plan for Nationals. It's in their court now, and they have to do it. That's what we're asking. That's what the community, and apparently we're a voice now for some stupid reason, is to make this kind of thing happen. So this is the community saying, let's do it.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good note to end this section on, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right. Does anybody have anything else? Okay, cool. So let's talk. Speaking of Nationals, though, this past weekend, I spent all of my Sunday watching Canadian Nationals. Friend of the show, my fellow Team Tyrell member, Jake Platt, defeated CT, Wars to Come host Chris Thompson, to steal from the Canadians their national championship. And
it was two Americans.
I know, but they still stole it from Canada.
But they played in Canada, yeah.
Yeah. It's not a Canadian who's Canadian national champion this year. And so, but that's not a big deal, right? Platt's a good guy. CT's a good guy. Either one of them winning, that's awesome. Except both of them were playing ladies combo, as everyone knows, is the single worst thing to happen to Game of Thrones, the card game.
Okay, come on, guys.
So, where do we want to go? Do we want to go with congratulating Platt, which I would love to just talk about that, or CT? But
yeah, that's possible.
Should we go to combo?
It's a good deck. It's a great deck. I'm glad it won. But can I point out, wasn't Red Saturday bigger than Canadian Nationals?
It was.
By one person?
No, that was Stormy of Starpike was bigger by one person, and Red Saturday was bigger by like 4 or 5.
Wasn't 3 of the top 4 decks in Red Saturday Tyrell Cross or Tark Crossing?
Yes.
Where was all the people complaining about how Tark Crossing is overpowered and ruining the game and like is terrible, and the worst thing that's happened is a crossing
is not
agenda.
The ubiquity. The ubiquity is not the point. The point is that it's not the same game.
I mean, I like to play big guys, but I can't even get the economy to play big guys when when Tark Crossing. Am I giving away what deck I'm playing when I keep saying Tyrell Crossing? When Tark Crossing wins in 2 turns or whatever. Like, I don't know. I just think that the community tends to overcorrect for these sort of like I actually think there are answers. They may not be optimal, but if you start seeing like 8 million combo decks at every tournament, like it'll start making sense to run Forgotten Plans and whatnot. I don't know.
You won't see that though, because there are enough people that, from a moralistic standpoint, whether you agree with them or not, aren't interested in playing that version of the game, even if it's the best version for the metagame.
That's a valid point.
So ultimately, the community seems to have spoken, right? Like, this was a debate for a really long time, and now it's not. But also, ultimately, both the Wars to Come and Second Sons that's Wars to Come and Second Sons. We're Second Sons. Wars to Come and the White Book are doing full episodes on this topic. Do we have to have the same debate we've had 15 times?
Just because you're on like 5 different podcasts doesn't mean the rest of us have an opportunity to vent about it.
I think there's a specific we are the podcast. Wars to Come does this as well, but we're the podcast that talks about the metagame at large much more than Will does. So I think it's worth us talking at least a little bit about.
What's there to say? No one likes it. Some people think it's acceptable because they printed the fucking cards. Some people go, man, that's not the way I want to spend my time, even if they printed the fucking cards. I wish FFG would do something. The majority seems to have switched toward the latter. And now we wait, I guess. And if they do something great, and if they don't, well, a lot of people are going to be kind of sad, including us. Except Sandy, who apparently doesn't care.
I mean, yes, that's fair. I don't care. I'll play whatever game. I'll figure it out.
I think the main issue, to go back to sort of Chris's thing, is like I'm pretty moderate on the combo issue. I mean, I would never play this style of combo deck, and but I have no problem with it existing, or Platt and CT and Jess and all of them taking it to a major tournament. I mean, we were planning. Spoiler alert! It was originally built for Team Tyrell to roll Jesse's tournament, and then Platt wanted to win, a bye, and so he went to Canadian Nationals with it, right? So. But at the same time, the problem with this in the broader metagame is the deck really is has a 80 plus, Platt would say 90 plus win rate. Like, I've seen the data, I've seen the deck run, I've played the deck myself. Like, it's really, really good.
But you
and really
suck
consistent.
with it.
I do suck with it. But I can get a positive win rate with the deck, even though I suck with it. Right? Like, it's a very, very strong deck. To beat it distorts all other decks in a way that's not necessarily the true with Viper distorted decks, but not as hard as this. Same with Wonder Woman, and that is the problem. I don't think it's necessarily combo itself. It's the specific consistency and efficiency of the ladies combo that is a problem. And that's what needs to be addressed by Danny.
The fact that that Jake and I don't remember the other person that he mentioned specifically. Was it CT? It might have been CT. That two players who are proficient with the deck voluntarily said, I won't play this deck at your event now that it's won. That says a lot to me about how they feel about the deck. That, they know they could take it and just roll the tournament again. And especially in a field where everything has to be so spread out, like the Thrones War format, it would do even better there because you can't pack answers in every one of 5 different decks for this. And so the fact that they said, no, I'm willing to just voluntarily step away and not crush your tournament with it says a lot about the power level of the deck to me.
Mm-hmm. I think the problem, but I think specifically about combo, though, in general, this is a thing Aaron does care about. This is not, though, the first time that decks have reached a point where I believe Danny should step in and have done things to fix the metagame. But I'm glad that Platt is the hero that we need to get to a restricted list and to start getting active intervention in the metagame from FFG. If it took this for them to finally get involved, it'll be worth it. It'll be worth all the hypocrisy that's been coming out of people's mouths about combo and restricted lists and all these things now. But I am frustrated.
Why are both sides using the word hypocrisy?
What?
Why are both sides using the word hypocrisy so much? It's very confusing.
Well, it's because fundamentally, for me at least, I view that many people who were once restricted list is the worst thing that could ever happen in the game. There's no problems in the metagame. When there was a certain style that dominated it with a huge amount of consistency that they enjoyed, they were like, no restricted list. Never. It'd be the worst thing that happened to the game. But now that there's this deck that dominates the metagame with a style of play that they don't like, they're like, oh, we need a restricted list. And that frustrates me.
Why? Hold on. Why does that frustrate you? That seems like a perfectly consistent position.
I agree with Sandy.
Because I think, how am I put this? I think that when Lanny, no offense, Chris, Lanny Dragon was running over people all the time and dominating the metagame, it should have been restricted.
That's absurd. That deck was not
and just like the ladies combo should be restricted. Just like I've said on older Second Sons episodes. Like, I generally think that more active intervention is necessary to keep the metagame healthy and balanced.
That deck was good, but people didn't tech for it. That wasn't running over the game.
There was no tech for it. It was this weird problem. Yes.
Well, no. I mean, it was playing... it's hard to say that Lanny Dragon is playing the same game as Martell Wolf, for example. I would not say that those decks are playing the same game. And maybe that's...
I think they both still win challenges. Like,
do they?
I mean combo wins challenges.
Yeah.
It wins a challenge.
Yeah.
It wins like at least 2, right? Doesn't it
sometimes 3? I saw Platt win 3 once.
So that's about right. That's about how many challenges my the Barra Dom deck wins, or builders. Like, it's the same game. I actually think it's a perfectly consistent position to say, I don't like big guy decks, so we should restrict Tywin and all these other big guys. And it's perfectly valid to say, no, that's dumb. And then when it's attrition, to say like, oh, we need to restrict Flea Bottom and Ario Hota and whatever sacrifice cards, whatever. I don't know. But I actually my
I don't
position
know.
on this is,
He didn't. What is that sound?
It's Buzz.
Andreas is opening something.
Buzz, stop opening things. You said you were muted.
okay, so my point is, like, I think Flea Bottom, for example, is a fine card if there were 5 to 10 other cards of equal power level that were available. I don't necessarily think.
Cares?
Well, yeah, you're right. It's not like FFG prints new cards ever. You're correct about that.
Cards are
metagame
traditionally, we know forever that cards are designed a year out. Unless suddenly we believe that there's going to be, even though there haven't been in the year since it's been printed, a deluge of cards that are of that power level, then
Since
just
we're
move on.
Since we're already dictating policy for FFG, can we just say perhaps FFG can get its stuff together and print cards that are of the right power level for the
So then
game?
we just wait for a year? Because if they decide that today, then we have a year.
So based on your statement that this is cards are designed a year out, well, the game doesn't have a restricted list. So we should just switch to a different game since they're never going to change anything in their process, right? Or are you saying they should change the process by having a restricted list?
I think what Aaron's trying to say is a restricted list is a tool to get to the point, like to combine your two arguments. A restricted list is a way to get the game to the point in which power level cards that equal Flea Bottom can be printed, right? And thus you can take Flea Bottom off the list, right? If there are cards that are equal to or clear counters to Flea Bottom, then you can take it off the list, see what happens. But until Danny prints those cards,
and I'm fine with that. Like, I like the list
everyone but
being
Sandy
robust
is
and changing.
This conversation.
Like, I don't understand why that's the.
We do.
We have the same conversation every week with the exact same people presenting the exact same opinions on this. Can we move on?
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything else they want to say about combo?
I like playing combo.
Do you like playing against? Do you like playing against combo?
No, fuck no.
Okay, cool. Let's move.
All right. Okay. So there is one. Is there any other news that I missed before I move into the sort of big
your news
announcement? My news, yes. So this was soft announced on a thread Sandy started on the Facebook group today, but we are going to be bringing the team format to the East Coast in October of this year. Roywar, yeah. Ryan was generous enough to say you guys should go ahead and take the format he developed in a new direction on the East Coast, and that's what we're going to be doing. I'm incredibly excited. In fact, I can finally press publish on this stupid Facebook post that I wrote that Aaron told me to wait. All right, cool. All right, so there's now a poll that is live in the Facebook group. If you're interested in coming to Philadelphia, because it's going to be in Philly at our store here at Red Caps. Sandy and Aaron have both played at the store twice and know that it is spacious and can fit a large number of people. They're very friendly staff. It's a pretty good store.
And Roy runs a hell of a tournament. Best TO I know. Not a joke.
And I'm really, 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 really excited for this, actually. So the exact date has not been pinned down yet. It's going to be the beginning of either the first or second weekend of October. We're kind of waiting for Wizards to announce their fall Magic release date, because the store runs a huge pre-release. And they obviously can't run this tournament plus the pre-release in the same weekend. So once Wizards announce that, which they should either this upcoming month or the beginning of May, I'll be able to say this is exactly the weekend. But if you're interested in coming, it's going to be mark your calendars as one of the first 2 weekends in October. I'll be getting final details out to people ASAP. But please go into the poll. Yes.
Hey, want to announce your first king?
Yes, I can. I'll announce 2 actually. I'll announce 2 regions that I know are going to come. Buzz, if you want to come to the U.S. in October, I snap pick. It'll be.
Oh my God! No. If
I'm planning to go to Red.
Can they auto be kings?
Okay.
Ooh, really? That's
all right.
Amazing.
Well, that's another piece of amazing news. Buzz coming to Red Saturday. I'm
gonna try.
Right. So Thrones Toberfest, this is the 6th year we've run it. It's moved different formats, moved different cities. It'll be great. But I had a point that I was making before Aaron interrupted me. But, please vote in the Facebook poll because I want to be able to tell the store, hey, 50 people are interested in coming, 60 people, 70, 80, 90, however many
people are going to Kentucky. We got more than
I know. So I hope to have as many people who want to attend this. But the more I can say, hey, we have prospective 70 people that want to come, that the store, that like one encourages the store to get their ass moving on giving me a date. Two, it just makes it easier for me to have a general sense of who's going to attend, ordering prize support, all that other kind of stuff. So, So I am ready to announce the first two regents because I got approval today. The first is not an East Coaster. She is former Team America, flag bearer at Stolic. The winner of the first American Road to Stolic tour. Jessica Thompson will be our first regent. I'm really excited to have Jess. And then our second regent, who just spoiled himself, is Aaron fucking Glazer. So those are the first two regents. We'll have more. There's some more in the pipeline, and people who are coming and working out travel plans and getting back to me.
I fully plan to bid stupid amounts on all my friends.
Except me.
Well, let's say Sandy, you can be a regent.
Nope.
Sandy does not want to be a regent. I offered it to Sandy when I was initially planning this at Starpike, and he said he didn't want to do it.
Sandy, you got to do it. All right, we're gonna talk Sandy into it later.
All right.
You want to see me bid a stupid amount on someone? Convince Dark Nudge to come.
Oh, I'm working on it.
Here's all my money. Can I have Dark Nudge?
I'm working on Dark Nudge coming, and so once we have a date, Dark Nudge said he would get back to me, so he would like to come. So.
Yeah. All right, I got 3 questions for you, Roy.
Yes,
First,
Chris.
are you yourself going to be a regent?
I am not. I will probably not even be playing. I'm going to be running the tournament. I don't have Ala is not a tournament person, so I don't have someone amazing like Aaron to help me run the tournament. So I will be doing it all.
That would be Aaron Jones for the uninitiated. Yes. Aaron Jones runs Ryan Jones's Throne War because it's really Aaron Jones's Throne War. She is effing believable. She's only person I've met who can rival Roy at tournament organization.
Aaron ran a really smooth tournament this year and last year that I was there. So.
Second one, is there a cap on attendance because of the store?
There is currently the store, as I can understand, it can fit 100 people. Is what and they can fit possibly more. I think that their fire code is higher, but he said comfortably it's about 100 some. And
so could we fit extra matches at the bar? Were that a necessity?
I mean, there's not as you've been to the store, there's not really a nearby bar.
There's 3.
Right.
Within walking distance.
There's actually that one bar that's 3 blocks away that's really got a shit ton of space. It's totally empty. The one with the weird swings.
Yeah. Oh, don't even.
And then last question then. You mentioned taking it in a new direction. Are there specific rules tweaks that you're looking at?
Yeah,
you don't have to not really.
Nothing that I specifically want to talk about this very second, but I'm talking with both Ryan and Jesse, and I want to see sort of how Jesse's tournament goes a little bit before I make any significant changes. But Ryan has made a couple of suggestions, and there's some things that I'm looking at changing, but I don't want to make any sort of
I didn't want to.
Yeah. But there'll be tweaks. It's my first year running it. I don't necessarily want to change the rock the boat too much, but there's some slight tweaks that I like, particularly how points for when teams are uneven that I want to play around with. I wasn't 100% satisfied with the way in which Ryan did it this year.
Neither were we.
Yeah, so I want to experiment, and maybe Ryan will take the system I come up with.
I've got a question. Could I can only be a regent if you can guarantee that whoever gets Team Greyjoy dress Chris Schoenthal?
Hold on. Let me change my attendance to not going.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm looking at trying to get a West Coast king to sort of keep geographic diversity. I'm not sure if Chris wants to be a king twice in a year, but or regent. We'll see as we go along. But I'm really excited it's a soft offer.
Right.
My planning little index card has West Coast written on it with a question mark. So anyway, but it's going to be really fun. I'm really, really excited. This is the thing I'm most excited about, besides Red Saturday, which sort of are organizing back to back. So I totally didn't bite off more than I could chew. But it's going to be really great. I'll have some more. Once the date is settled, I'll have more announcements about the type of prize support. It will be organized through the Northeast Championship Tour, so the event will eventually go on that Facebook page, but it's not a stop on the on NECT, okay? So it will not provide a buy to Red Saturday, it will not provide a hotel room, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe in the future it would be part of that, but I really don't think it fits sort of what we're trying to do with NECT. It sort of is an adjacent thing that we're going to be doing if it proves successful. So please come.
And I mean, I think Ryan's been talking with Sid about the West Coast tour, and I'm not sure that it's going to be one for that. So that seems consistent to me. I think it's kind of unique enough that it should be its own standalone thing, wherever it happens.
Shit. Hey, Nick Hansen's coming.
All right. I talked to Wausau. Yeah. I hope that makes me
really
so
hot right now.
Platt's in.
Yeah,
Platt's friend on Facebook. Just sent him an ad.
So yeah, it's gonna be good. So any other questions or comments about East Coast? Thronestoberfest is what's going to be, and so
what is the likelihood of James Booker being a regent at this tournament?
Who asked me that question?
Is that a question from Glazer or
is that a question from chat?
It's a question from Glazer. The chat should have asked that.
I am looking at people from the Midwest who have not been regents before.
Oh,
so
that was
that's
diplomatic.
one of the reasons why I asked Jess. Besides the fact that Jess is amazing and deserves it.
Jess is genuinely amazing.
So,
except for Jason and other people.
Ooh, Glazer, here's somebody you could draft under I live internationally and would like to attend if the logistics work out. One Alexander Hines.
That seems likely. I will bid -$1. I will pay $5 for another team to draft Alexander Hines.
All right. So I think we should probably move on from this topic, as excited I am. Sandy, you're going to be there, right?
Yeah, of course he is.
I don't know. Philly's kind of far.
Sandy's going to share an Airbnb with me and then be sad that he's in an Airbnb. It'll be great.
I won't stay at an Airbnb. I'm getting my own hotel room. I have a job now. I don't have to summit with you guys.
It will be I actually hope to get a block of rooms. That's one of the things I got to start getting working on. That's another reason why I want to get numbers.
Roy, King Alex Hines.
I mean,
because he's usually. No, I'm not going to say that.
That's not actually impossible. I will actually reach out to Alex. I think that would be pretty fun.
I was going to say something and I censored myself. I'm very proud.
I appreciate that. I actually think it'd be really fun to have both you and Alex in the Regent pool. That amuses me.
I think of one other question for you, Roy. Sure. What is the distance between Red Cap's Corner? Is that the name of the store?
Mm-hmm.
But between Red Cap's Corner and Reading Terminal Market, how long is that distance?
By which form of transportation? Like public transit, driving,
Uber.
Walking.
Yeah, driving, walking.
Uber, it's probably 15 minutes.
So lunch needs to be about an hour and a half. All right, noted.
Chris, you'll be there for more than one day. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll probably have to be a 2-day event.
There's like 30 things in there I need to eat, though.
Reading Terminal Market's pretty awesome. You could also just come on Friday, and we could go to Reading Terminal Market then.
Oh, if I go, that's happening.
Yeah, so and see Independence Hall and all that stuff. So
we can do that too,
I love that. Okay, so we need to move on to another piece of news that is someone vape for or not news, another thing that I've been working on. But somebody, while I see if Will has put up the post on his website yet, someone say something.
So something, and then something else happened. While Roy is smiling dumbly at the camera, we all continue to talk about the TCG blogger. You would think as a blogger he would be better at hosting drafts because I listened to the TCG blogger and Sandy host a draft.
That wasn't TCG blogger did not host it. To be fair, that was not
totally the wrong
Ben
person.
Wazlowski.
Do not give Evan a hard time for that.
Someone told me that was him because I've always really liked the TCG blogger, as the chat knows. And I was like, seriously, this is what he and Sandy are doing. I'm very happy that was someone else.
No, that was
Ben.
Ben and Simone and Simone's friends, and
Oh, that's
the
right.
second half of that
There was
draft.
Simone brought some girls home. That was weird.
No, that was the girl is a friend of his wife's, and that's where he was staying in New York.
Oh,
all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said Ethan, not Evan.
It's Ethan. Did I say Evan? I apologize.
Somebody said Evan apparently. So
it's probably me. I apologize because I'm trying to do two things at once. Okay, so I have it up. Do you guys have the tier list up?
Yes.
You guys know? Cool. So it's not up on agot.cards, but I've spent the last 2 weeks, as everyone knows, the Story Championship season ends next Friday, right before Jesse's tournament. And I have spent the last 2 weeks working on a meta tier list for our game to sort of as a sort of capstone to where the game is at the end of the Story Championship season. I use data from Annals of Castle Black, from Jousting Pavilion, from talking with other people who have traveled to a bunch of Story Championships, and other sort of championship level players. I'll not include myself. People in the community to develop this. It is not a rocket science list. It will be should be at any time going live on agot.cards. I don't know. Will was supposed to make it happen like right now, but it's not up there yet. But people will be able to look at it and debate with us and do all that kind of fun shenanigans. So what's the point of this list is, I think, both on this show and on Wars to Come and White Book and all the other podcasts, people talk about Tier 1, Tier 1.5, Tier 2 decks, Tier 3 decks all the time.
I would like to apologize for Roy. He just suggested that there are other Thrones podcasts. He is mistaken, and he knows. Continue.
I thought we were a WoW podcast.
only when Britt joins us. Dude,
are you leaving us for the world of Azeroth?
Oh, that's a good. All right, episode title.
Dude, can you make Britt Fitch a king? If you make Britt Fitch a king, I'll pay triple.
Oh man.
I'll reach out to Britt and Lauren.
Like somehow it'll be both king and drafted to Britt's team. It'll be amazing.
I'll. You know what? I will reach out to Britt and Lauren and see if they would be interested in coming to Philly.
That would be so amazing.
It would be amazing.
If not, there's always Than.
There's Than. I have some other New Englanders that I'm looking at that I think people will be excited.
Than's better than Malucci. Don't you bullshit me.
Okay, can we talk about this tier list instead of ranking players by how much Aaron likes them?
But that's the only thing I care about.
All right. So anyway, the tier list is it's broken into 4 tiers. Tier 1 being the obvious one, which is the best decks in the meta. So I don't really need to describe that very much. Tier 1.5, which is almost the best decks in the meta. And let's see, what is the exact way I put this? They are good decks, but they are either not consistent enough to beat the Tier 1 decks or are suppressed by the presence of other decks that are its counter in Tier 1. Many of these decks were recently Tier 1 decks that moved down to Tier 1.5 or are about a chapter pack or two from moving up into the top tier. The second tier or the third tier rather, is Tier 2. These are good decks, but they are outclassed by the decks that are above them. While they are capable of taking down a tournament, that tournament has to have a specifically friendly meta to these decks because they lack the consistency, synergy, and refinement of either Tier 1 or Tier 1.5 decks. And you will often see these decks in the bottom half of Swiss rather than the top half of Swiss. A few of these, like one of the Tier 2 decks I have is Sam Brat's Puppies deck. That is not a bad deck. It just is a high ceiling and high floor deck that your pleb players like myself, if they take to a tournament, will find themselves in the bottom half of Swiss. But of course,
high ceiling, low floor.
High ceiling, low floor. Excuse me. They'll end up at the bottom half.
Buzz is mad already. Did you hear that sigh? Did you hear Buzz's sigh? Buzz is mad.
Buzz's already mad. All right. Well, you want to yell at me about something?
Okay. So first off,
yes.
If the issue is the player, then Martell Wolf should not be top tier. Martell Rose should not be top tier.
That's very true. Those are low floor decks.
Yeah. I mean,
are they? I can win with them. They're not that hard to play.
They're not as hard as Stark Reigns, but either Stark Reigns is Tier 1 or it's Tier 2. It's not like, it's Tier 1 when this player plays it. It's always Tier 1, and everyone is just too bad to play it.
Are we Are we actually getting into this now?
I don't want to start on the decks yet. I have a couple of procedural.
Yeah, but that's just. I disagree with this ranking.
Then there's tier 3, which is trash tier. I did not put any tier 3 decks on my list because I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of time like fighting about what's a tier 3 deck. Like, but the platonic ideal of a tier 3 deck to me is Greyjoy, or excuse me, Lanny Kraken Pillage. All right,
so, Sandy, I am genuinely disappointed in you. You look at this list and go, "Isn't this just tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 mislabeled?"
Right, and that's the first point of procedure I wanted to bring up was the fact there should be a tier 3. There also honestly should be a tier 0 if we're going to get into the 1.5. The ladies combo should be tier 0.
Yep. Okay. Aaron tried to convince me to do what Chris and I guess Sandy is getting looped into this in Buzz are saying. But then Dark Naj, who I was running this by, liked my classification system. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to agree with John. And Buzz is rolling.
John is a casual.
You're aware that Dark Naj is also. I like watching Buzz eat Jello. You're aware that Dark Naj is, for all his other credits, completely fucking insane, right?
Yes, I know.
But
sorry.
But anyway,
all right, let's talk about the actual decks and where they're placed, rather than.
Do you want me to just read off for readers?
No. We'll post the link in the show notes.
The link has been posted in the chat.
Yeah, put the spreadsheet, I assume, is what you sent, or is the article up?
No, just the link to the spreadsheet.
Okay.
The show notes and it's linked in the chat.
They do not
have edits.
Okay.
Potentially.
Well, me neither. So
I checked before I linked.
So I think, are these in any order? They're just alphabetical.
No, they're just there. I specifically didn't put them in any order.
So I think if we're doing it this way, then Greyjoy Range is the heart of the tier 1.5, not the tier 1.
I disagree.
Yeah, I would agree.
I disagree.
See, we were already.
Yeah, I disagree.
I knew where
Greyjoy Reigns definitely is a tier 1. I think.
Yeah.
There's no way that Greyjoy Reigns is better than Tyrell Reigns.
I think yes, it is absolutely better than Tyrell Reigns.
It is.
I think that every other Greyjoy deck should be or lower. Let's be clear about that. But
yeah, I don't know where HRD Kraken is 1.5, but I'm trying to go one at a time.
Yeah, I mean.
So we're on the second deck, and we already disagree.
No, Sandy, I agree that Tyrell Reigns should be above Greyjoy Reigns, but Greyjoy Reigns should be in tier 1. And Tyrell Reigns as well.
I don't think
Tyrell Reigns in tier 1 as well.
So I don't think Greyjoy Reigns necessarily, like, even a majority of the time, beats Targ Reigns or Tyrell Reigns or Night's Watch Wolf or like Builders, and that's
definitely doesn't beat Builders.
Right, but
all those other decks I've beaten.
Right, but that's right. You can beat them, but it's not. It's by no means a gimme. And like I feel like the fact that the majority of about tier 1.5 is about as good as Greyjoy Reigns means it's either 1.5 or we need a much bigger tier 1 list.
See,
I'm fine.
May I say one more thing about my tier 1 list? I purposefully curated things down out of tier 1. All right, if something was like a borderline to me, it was my inclination to push it down into tier 1.1 or 1.5. Excuse me. I wanted a smaller, tighter tier 1 list. One, to create conversation in the community, and two, I think it's better than just sort of having this gymongous let's just put every possibly good deck in tier 1, which a lot of people tend to do in these conversations.
I think Greyjoy Reigns, I don't have any real question about anything else in tier 1. I think everything else in tier 1 is
definitely
not necessarily
other decks before I have questions about that.
Really? What do you have questions about in tier 1 before that?
Tyrell Crossing.
Yeah.
Tyrell Crossing.
Tyrell Crossing was the one that stood out to me.
My problem with Tyrell Crossing is there's so many variants of it. Martell what?
I think that the new version, the DC version, is much, much, much more consistent than the previous version.
I have a problem with the Targ Crossing on that list, actually.
No, Targ Crossing belongs there without a doubt.
That was originally in tier 1.5, but then I was badgered by Glazer and a few other people to move it up to tier 1.
Can we focus on one or two at a time? Because if
let's just take them in order that they're here. So ladies combo, we all agree, right?
Yeah,
should be tier 0.
We just had Greyjoy Reigns. We debated that. All right, Martell Wolf. Buzz, you're the expert.
We all know it's tier 1. Just move on.
I mean, there's so many good builds, and something we realized when we were building it is we saw a lot of really bad Martell wolves that were posted that had 1 stuff, and we said, okay, this deck is just so good at its core. It has a good core cards that even with the bad versions, people win.
What would you consider the core cards?
Like Venomous Blade, Ward, Thorny Spy,
Lee Bottom.
Lee Bottom. I mean, the Martell stuff and Ward,
The wolf stuff.
The wolf stuff. Yeah, I guess.
Like,
I mean,
like,
the stuff
More
you
of the
know.
Martell Wolf is Martell stuff and Wolf stuff. Got it.
All right, fair enough. So let's move on because we can't go through every deck
But I
in
mean-
this
I mean,
fucking stupid list, right?
Ramsay double.
Oh, we all
Knights,
agree.
etc.
All right, just hold on.
Ramsey,
We all
Ramsey.
agree that Martell Wolf belongs in the tier 1.
No,
right?
no one on Earth is arguing. So can I present the case for Martell Rose?
Being in or out.
In, I don't like it. I don't think it's nearly as good. But I think if Greyjoy Reigns is in, it has to be. I think it's as good as Greyjoy Reigns. I think that the problem with Martell Rose lies almost entirely within Targaryen. And other Martell decks, I guess. It really does not like Venomous Blade. But, I think it's probably a tier 1 deck, and I think its winning of the Major Thrones War earns it a place here, even if it's almost certainly going to be knocked down to 1.5, the next version of this.
I may even get knocked down to tier 2, depending on.
Sure, I guess
I don't
we're
think so.
looking, if we're looking at past
So-
results. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So I can explain why it's never going to be tier 2 real easy. You know that new Danny that's fucking broken? Martell Rose has the best answer to that card in the game.
what is the answer?
Seriously? No.
I don't know what cards are in this deck.
Ugh, HFK.
Hellstorm.
Oh yeah, probably.
It's the single best answer to Danny in the game. She can't be burnt. Like, everything else is just sort of like her shrugging and moving on with life. That's the answer.
Cool. So, Buzz, you don't believe though that Martell Rose belongs in this?
No, it's 1.5. It's like Wolf, plays like Wolf,
But lacks Ward
but it's worse.
and Ramsey.
Yeah, it has similar
But
to
has
this.
the sweet combo.
Has left,
It
right?
has doesn't it have Snapcaster Mage, which is like my favorite card ever.
What card?
Snapcaster Mage.
Emissary of Hightower.
Age.
Emissary Hightower.
Oh, yeah, it
Magic
does.
cards. Wait, since when did Sandy start just like listing off Magic card names?
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I really love the Emissary of Hightower, but the events aren't the strength of the deck either.
No.
So
No. The real strength of the deck is left and right to make it so that you don't have to keep as much board presence, which is dumb, but it's true. And the HFK jump in, but that's just a worse version of Ramsey, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I get it. I get why it's not as good, which is why.
What?
But, like,
Why is
I think it's
worse? Oh, okay. Never mind.
because
Yeah, keep
Ward
going.
and Ramsey are better than anything in the
Yeah.
Rose that Rose gives you. But I also really, truly
Ninefold.
I don't believe Greyjoy Reigns is significantly worse than Martell Rose. Or significantly better than Martell Rose.
I definitely think it is. I definitely.
Yeah,
So I didn't.
like-
I didn't say what about Greyjoy Reigns. What I think. You're completely right that it doesn't have these blowout matchups against some of the other tier 1 decks, but it has a decent matchup against everything. You can face no matter what someone puts down on the other side of the table. You're like, okay, I can beat this. It's possible. And then
I think it's consistency that kills me. Like, it's just like,
it's
yes,
super
but you
consistent.
It's a super
you
consistent
just top deck wrong once or twice and you're kind of fucked. I don't know. All right,
I think
whatever.
it has the
Let's move
most
on.
outs of any deck in the meta in a matchup, and that's what I want to say with Buzz. Like,
including to the combo decks, which I think is relevant
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Like,
That's fair.
like
I
it
hate
is.
that is relevant, but it is relevant. You're not
Like,
wrong.
I think I was a Martell Rose hater until I started seeing the Wisconsin list and talking to them about the deck, and then seeing Nick's run at Thrones War, and it's a really fucking good deck. Like it. So anyway, next one is Lanny Crossing. Any disagreement that this is a tier 1 deck?
Stephen Avery.
No,
No, it's
no one
really
should
good.
disagree with you. It's
He's wrong. He's wrong, but
It's also the second most. It's the most degenerate non-combo deck. Where like it just wins sometimes, and you literally shrug, and you're like,
wait,
all right,
just so we're all using the same language here. Degenerate just means it wins like fast. It's rush.
No,
Because that's not what the.
It wins fast with minimal interaction from its opponent.
Non-degenerate combo deck.
Yeah,
no, he said most degenerate non-combo deck.
It's the most degenerate non-combo. It's the deck that requires It's the deck that requires the least play to win, and not because it's fast. Because there are fast decks like Tyrell Crossing. I would argue is a very fast deck that requires a fair amount of skill to play. I think that Lanny Crossing is very just like it's very fast. And it often wins on turn 2 just because it's like, hey, guess what? I saw a dupe Cersei, and then I saw that other location, and I hit with heads, and now the game's over. And, like, you just kind of shrug that off. Like, it's a thing that happens to you, not a thing you play against sometimes.
It's the most consistent rush deck, in my opinion.
Oh,
this is what I spent a bunch of today arguing with Stephen Ebry about, and Sid about whether Tyrell Crossing or Lanny Crossing was more consistent, but I think Lanny Crossing is. All right, now we get, I think this is the last, to me, uncontroversial pick here, which is Targ Fealty, which is the sort of representative good Targ deck. The data and my discussions with people said that like Targ Fealty is where it's at for Targaryen, and everybody's got to be ready for it, right? No disagreement. Sandy, no disagreement, right?
Nope. I think a lot of what Buzz said about the Martell Wolf is the same as what I would say about Targ Fealty. There's a lot of bad Targ Fealty that still win stuff because you just put like the 12 good cards and then fill it out with other random crap and it tends to win. Like I heard people were running like Breaker of Chains and other garbage still winning tournaments.
My problem with that argument is that the bad Targ Fealty deck is Targ HRD Punishment. Like,
well, that's why.
Well, HRD
Punishment is not in.
So HRD Punishment is something I would put at tier 1.
Interesting. I would not. Every time I played against that deck,
good.
I played against a lot about. I played against it.
I mean,
in tournaments and on Iron Throne, and
people suck at building decks, and they build HRD Punishment and like, oh, this is so cool, but they lose. Play with or against Nicholas' version. It's so beautiful and it's so powerful.
All right, so Nicholas, if you're listening, message us. We gotta play. Just like not even for like we won't report it. It's just for science.
It is on the Thrones DB. Just go get it. Play it on Iron Throne. It's sick as fuck.
I'm downloading it. What's his stupid Thrones DB name?
All right, so now we get into the controversial territory. I think.
Nimer.
I was not expecting as much fight about Greyjoy Fealty as I was with the bottom ones here. So Bitterbridge. I almost made this 1.5, but
no.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, it's very good.
Garbage.
This deck is probably the second best after the Tyrell combo. It's the best Tyrell one deck.
Yeah.
And
you guys just don't run big characters or what? Like you just don't know how to deal with big characters?
I mean,
like I don't.
I mean, it has a fairly bad matchup against Greyjoy Reigns, which you guys argue.
And Lanny Crossing. Like,
yeah, that seems right.
What? No.
Yes.
It's like all characters.
You have to switch out of Bitterbridge and go into Highgarden, and then your whole economy and curve is fucked. And then they're going really fast, and you're playing a game of catch-up. I played a lot of... I am not playing Bitterbridge at Jesse's tournament, so I have no reps with that deck. But I think it's suppressed by the presence of Lanny Crossing and to a lesser extent Greyjoy Reigns. I think you have more outs against Greyjoy Reigns. Like but I think it's just super suppressed by Lanny Crossing. Like if you run into like 2 Lanny Crossing decks in the Swiss, you could just get eliminated from that. Like it can run over people. Like it runs over Targaryen. Like just
I think the real problem with it is the prevalence of Banner Wolf.
Banner Wolf isn't a problem. Yep. You just don't marshal any cheap shit. You just you just make sure everyone.
Froso.
Hey, Froso, okay, but
so they play Rattleshirt Raiders and Confiscation. I mean,
sometimes.
Yeah, but like the key thing,
no guaranteed to get you out of Froso. Though is the problem.
Right.
Like they have to make you second on the first turn. If they otherwise, all you need is one turn about Martell Wolf to get set up with one big dude, some claim soak, and you're set for the rest of the game.
You were playing some real bad Martell Wolf, dude, but okay.
What? Going into Thrones War, I said there there's one deck that I cannot win against unless I draw a specific sequence of cards, and it's HRD Bitterbridge. It's fucking possible unless I draw at least minimum 2 Frozo and trigger Varus 2 times. That's the only way.
Yeah, you also don't run a reset. Most Martell Wolf does.
Yeah,
but I play Duel, and Duel fucks them hard, and I still say no. Fair. It's not possible. I cleared his board on turn 3.
I've won that match a few times with
Aaron. I think the problem is
not.
I
played it like 15 times and won.
I think
2 or 3
it's not
times.
that you've run into bad Martell Wolf players. I think you've played against bad Bitterbridge players.
Bitterbridge players.
Like there's a lot of bad Bitterbridge.
Oh,
players.
and I've seen a lot of really bad lists. I mean, people don't play enough summer plots. People play like counting coppers in.
Yeah, I don't
what
understand
are you
that
doing?
bullshit.
Yeah, but I still think that just like and now Tyrell crossing, just like the fact that Rush meta Bitterbridge has some issues. Like it's not as fast as other it can handle Targ crossing.
That turn to set up, yes.
Yeah, but it can't really handle I was 2-1 against the DC deck, but mostly because I don't think they actually tested against Bitterbridge, to be completely honest. But once they had figured it out after playing me 3 times in the Swiss, twice in the Swiss and once in the cut, they figured out how to beat my deck by then. But when I was playing them in the Swiss, they did not know what their outs were at all. They kept doing the king plot too late. They kept they were giving me room to breathe when they needed to put the pressure on me right away. Because if you give that deck room to breathe, it can just get set up and just not lose. Duel doesn't do much once it gets set up. All of once you get a protected mace with that deck, it takes 2 Varuses and a Valor, and then you close call and it's. Yeah,
what event were you talking about where you played that and the king plot was legal?
Starpike.
Oh, you played it at Starpike? Mm-hmm. What was the DC deck at Starpike? I hadn't heard of
the new DC guys, Tyrell Crossing. The list that's going around, that's that Martin A's went to second and lost to Scott with.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes, Scott.
Booker played it in top 4, right?
Yep, modified version, an anti-combo built version. Yeah, that's running Forgotten Plans, I think, instead of.
No,
Yeah, it's definitely running Forgotten Plans.
No, but that deck is legit.
Yeah, it's legit. Well, it's the next one on the list. So Tyrell Crossing, which is entirely on there from the fact that DC rocked Starpike, and I've looked at their list. I've play tested their list for. I mean, that's sort of a tentative thing. It came at the last second while I was working on this list, but I do think that list is tier 1. It's going to be refined really quick. I think Booker's version.
So
was
is Sandy on
version.
WoW? Is Sandy on WoW or is he on Iron Throne?
Iron Throne
or Tinder.
Or Tinder.
Does he have the Tinder plugin for Chrome and he's just clicking through?
Oh, I should get that.
It's just saying Tyrell Crossing. So you mean the DC version? Because Tyrell Crossing, there's, as Aaron said, there is so many versions.
Yeah. The DC version that Booker took to Canadian Nationals and refined. I think it's the real shit.
Sandy's on. Sandy's definitely on the Iron Throne right now.
Okay. So there's one last one, which is Targ Crossing.
He's winning. Good.
Targ Crossing, I think, is a trap deck. It's fine, but I don't think it's. I actually have an opinion on this one.
It has lost a lot of oomph, right, in the last few months.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely a star deck around Worlds and Static.
Because you have, the Targ good stuff is still there, and you give up some economy for that rush, which, Targ Fealty is pretty slow at power gain. So it's a great deck, and I think it takes people by surprise. But I also don't think that it's even remotely as good as some of the other ones that are on this list.
I think I'd agree.
So I have a legit, looking at the data though, I have a legit thing. I think it's just running into the situation of where Landing Crossing kind of disappeared from the meta because people just weren't playing it. That it wasn't that Landing Crossing suddenly became bad. It's just it fell out of favor. Yeah. I think that's where Targ Crossing is. If
you're saying it's fallen from favor? That's
interesting. But not because it's bad, but just simply because it had its moment in the sun and good players wanted to try to find other tier 1 decks and have moved away from it. But when we come around to regional season, I expect to see a lot of Tard Crossing, depending on how the Martell. If there was no card releases, I guess would be the way to say it, between now and regional season, I would expect people to bring a lot of Tard Crossing. There's a reason why I won Worlds and Euros.
I'm not sure what your stats say, but after the various lists have been posted after Euros and Starlek and Worlds,
and Red Saturday,
I guess a lot of newbies have net-decked and played it at tournaments and ruined some stats, right?
That's certainly possible. I think that happened with some other decks too. So
yeah,
like we were talking about it happening with the Bitterbridge deck, and I don't know the stats on that one, but I know that it's definitely, I've seen very bad versions of it. That
I've played very bad versions of Bitterbridge, and like, okay, I can win with this with any deck, doesn't matter. And I've played against Genesis Bitterbridge, and I'm like, I cannot win against this with any deck.
So we have gone on for the tier 1 for a good long while. So why don't we just talk about tier 1.5 in general and see like people can pull out specific decks they want to talk about that you think should either be pushed up or be pushed down. What do you think?
Builders should be tier 1 in my opinion.
So that's the one I have the strongest opinion on.
Obviously.
I think I'm the one who put Builders at 1.5. It is somewhat suppressed in the meta, and that's why I put it there. It's almost tier 1, but I think it's in a Builders in the broader meta, not a Thrones War meta where you can isolate bad matchups, but in a general meta, it is in a much worse spot than the tier 1 decks that I listed.
Tier 1.25.
Yes,
yeah, sure. So I think Barrett HRD Castle beats about half at T1.
Yeah, but loses the other half, so that's why I put it there. Have you played the castle?
Yeah.
I lost to it with my Barrow's son.
We'll send you.
Yeah, we'll send it to you later.
Because
I think Greyjoy HOD Kraken is too high. I think it should be 2.
Yeah. Oh God.
Don't play HOD out of.
Why is Brienne not T1? Does people stop playing it?
I think that they're just weaker combo decks that you don't need to build you don't need to distort your deck as much as the ladies combo to answer, and so thus
sure.
I'd put Brienne in 1 and ladies combo in 0. Like
that's how I agree.
Okay, that's reasonable.
I also think Night's Watch Reigns might be 1, but it's close.
It's not consistent enough to be 1.1.
I love Night's Watch Wolf, but it's slightly.
Oh, Wolf? Yeah. Oh, you're talking about Wolf or Reigns?
No, Reigns. I think Reigns is insane.
I think Reigns isn't consistent enough to be tier 1, in my humble opinion. But
fair enough.
Somebody in chat would like to point out that Klansman is tier. Some guy can trick you into thinking this is good.
That's Jesse tier.
Jesse tier, yeah. So I've not seen this castle deck you're talking about, but HRD Red Keep is not tier 2. Oof, it's a good deck.
Play castle.
Yeah,
first.
the castle.
I think HOD Iron Throne is better than Red Keep, to be honest. But that's just my opinion.
Wrong.
You are wrong.
Red Keep is
once
fine.
again.
I
You should play Nemer's HRD Keep. Very similar
You
to
should
mine.
play against
and they're
HRD
both
Naga's
so
Ribs.
good.
You
I
should
don't
play
like HRD
Sean.
Naga's Ribs, and
I
I
have,
really want it to.
never lose.
HRD Naga's Ribs?
Yeah. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy win.
Send me a list.
I mean, against Ribs.
Oh, yeah, I don't think Ribs is that good.
Ribs is 1 pack away from being.
Sure, it can
Sure,
be
but
great.
we're not getting that pack in time for it to mean anything. So
Yes, So anything else stand out to you guys? Tier 1.5?
I think what really stands out is that the amount of discussion we've had over these tiers, I think, shows that the game is in a healthy spot.
Sure.
Like, no 2 people can agree on 3 decks that are all tier 1.
Yeah, we can. We all can. We all agreed on like
3?
5.
No, I don't think.
Okay, ladies.
You were playing on the Iron Throne the whole time.
Yeah, ladies,
I agree.
Martell Wolf and Bitterbridge. They're done.
I didn't agree on Bitterbridge.
But you
for
agree.
sure.
Ladies,
Land
Martell
Crossing.
Wolf and
Land
Tard
Crossing.
Fealty or Lenny Crossing.
Okay,
These
maybe.
are all obvious.
All right, whatever. My
Okay.
point stands.
Whatever. Yep.
stop ruining my opinion with facts.
There's only one we disagreed on at all. That's just me being difficult.
I like the nod to Chris Vaccaro in Night's Watch Green Sight being tier 2, but I'm not convinced outside of his performance that it's that high.
I mean, to be
really
honest,
wanna
okay,
play
the
that
tier
deck.
2 is the tier I spent the least amount of time doing systematically. There are some things that are just on there for my friends or decks that I think are interesting and stronger than people give them credit for. It's the least scientific list as my article, or part of the list. It is as my article that should be on Cards at some point says, like, tier 2 is the least systematic. It's not meant to be, it's meant to be representative rather than systematic. Unlike I do think, and I have on the show, defended my decisions for the tier 1 and tier 1.5s, but tier 2, like, whatever. Some of those are tier 3. Some of them are not. I don't know. Like, some of them are tier Klansmen. Like,
yeah, I think I would move Red Keep up to 1.5, but other than that, I think everything on the tier 2 list is probably at least there or lower. So I think that's fine.
I would share more about.
If we're not going to make a tier 3, then
I would share more about why Keep is at the bottom or on tier 2 after Jesse's tournament. But I don't want to talk out of school from Team Barra.
I think I should send some lists to Mr. Who's Jesse?
Jesse.
You would like Jesse.
I think I might have sent him already.
You met him, right?
You met him.
They were both at war. What do you mean you would like him?
There were people at war that I didn't meet. There were 100 fucking people there.
I've met Jesse. We're gonna play Sea of Thieves after this. We're just waiting for you guys to shut up.
So would chat and my co-hosts like me to keep this updated for each seasonal change? Like, I would like to. I enjoyed the process of doing this.
No, absolutely stop. Never do this again.
Okay.
But we're gonna have S tier.
I disagree with Aaron. There you go.
I will change the tier names around.
I do think that
I just want to make Roy sad for a second.
Addition, like a tier 0 and a tier 3, and move a few of the 2 decks to 3, and I think it'd be perfect. Like,
I don't think.
And so I will publish it. So we'll do Second Sons episodes at the end of every season. So the next one will be the end of regional season, and then the end of nationals / Gen Con Worlds. And we'll just sort of keep you up there. And we'll be on Got Cards for everybody to debate and all that good stuff and yell at me about. So, but we need to move on because not everybody, Aaron and I have snow days tomorrow, but not everybody has unlimited time.
Everyone who's not in our fucking time zone, it's like 8 p.m. Like, who cares?
Oh, right, so
let's talk Martell box. Fuck you, Buzz. Let's talk Martell box. We're doing 15 cards. Let's upset Sandy and the chat. I guess maybe.
I want to die.
So let's do 5. Let's do top 5 non-Martell cards first. So 5 is Val. I think Val is phenomenal, and I think Wildlings is a real deck now. Thoughts?
Yeah, completely agree. I think Val and it's funny because Dalla got brought up on Wars to Come last week, so I think the secret's out. I think Wildlings is a thing. It's fun.
Yeah, I think Wildlings. What house?
I like Night's Watch just for the Jon Snow synergy, but that's me.
Brotherhood, out of Targ.
Targ Wildlings is pretty good. I'm gonna go with Chris though. I love Night's Watch Wildlings.
Yeah, I think it's Martell because you want the extra jumping, and Ariana adds that.
Flea Bottom.
Yeah. Wildling Scout, I hear, is a good flea bottom target.
Yeah.
Leighton Hightower is number 4, but we spoiled that card, so I'm just gonna move on. Of non-Martell
Leighton Hightower is amazing.
Yeah, he's bonkers and broken. 3 is the Great John, and I would like it noted that it's really fucking thematically weird that Stark is the Intimidate house.
Yes, it is weird.
But
it's a good card though.
House Umber, then it's fine.
Yep.
As long as they're named House Umber or Direwolves, then Intimidate is fine.
Which is where they are. It just feels weird when you know that Intimidate's a Stark name. And I like that the way they chose to make Stark good. It's just like, give them more Intimidate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good keyword. So.
The best?
I think so.
Insight's the best.
I don't think it's the best at all, unless you can stand.
That is good.
I mean,
Here, Renown is the win condition.
Well, sure.
Renown is the best by
Renown
far.
is by far the best. Yes.
I think though one of the things that's nice about second edition compared to first is I actually don't think that any of the keywords are like garbage tier. Like I mean, well, not so to your Asha and your Euron.
Well, they have good abilities. Pillage sucks.
I guess pillage is the only
triggers.
garbage
That's like
one.
saying Euron Eddard's good because of Renown. Like, that's not fair.
Yeah. Very fair. All right, so Great John is phenomenal, and I think between Great John and Nymeria Stark, if they can keep their characters on the board, have a real way to like actually maintain a board now, which is nice. 2 is the Wars to go.
The Wars to go in your deck.
What?
The Wars to I'm not sure where I want it besides Martell.
Wars to come. Okay.
Yeah.
I actually want to try it out of Greyjoy and just run 5 money plots.
I mean, I guess
like 2x of each of late summer feast and trading.
2x.
You are not allowed
maybe
trading.
So that's
trade routes.
But when I win with Greyjoy, I'm not going 7 plots anyway. I mean, maybe.
No, you want to go 4 plots, but they're all money.
Yeah, you can just run 4 money plots out of 7. Like that's a difference.
This you can run 4 money plots and still have your tech plots that Greyjoy needs to help with its bad matchups.
Maybe. Anywhere else?
I think it does help Greyjoy. I think wall decks are going to need it.
Oh yeah, for the other card. Has that been spoiled?
The other card, which I'm sure is number 1 on your non-Martell card list here, which I believe its creators in the chat. So I think Night's Watch needs as many answer plots to that card if they're going to go wall decks as possible, and one route could be.
I just don't think wall decks exist.
We'll see. Martell Watch with the plot cancel. Sorry.
Sure, I guess. Are you getting excited for that? Was that you masturbating, Roy?
Me masturbating. Yes. This is how I masturbate.
It's a weird hand motion, Roy. All right, whatever. Vegans do it different. I don't actually want to talk about number 1.
On that note, I'm gonna get another beer.
This would be my number 1 in the box. I don't actually want to discuss Breaking Ties, though. I think Breaking Ties is the most broken shit in the world.
I'd be interested to hear your opinion on JT Drummond since it didn't make your top 5.
I don't know what to do with JT Drummond. I feel like the houses that most want it are the houses that could least afford it. I think it's a solid Martell card. I'm not sure where else I even really look at it hardcore.
Yeah, that might be true.
Like, I like that it exists. I think its existence is healthy. But like, where can you afford to use your limited slots on that?
You don't think it's good out of Stark?
No, Stark can't afford that tempo hit.
It's so expensive for Stark. No,
Stark has no chance.
No, I mean, you don't think well, I don't know. No. It's just another sacrifice effect.
No, I mean,
so like to set up the other
which of their cards trigger off sacrificing your neutral locations?
No, sorry. It thins the board for the 2 cost event that they have.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, the double plot combo does a fair job of that.
That's true.
Yeah.
So like, you're not gonna. I don't know where this is fitting, and like that deck is gold starved as shit anyway, and just to play a 2-cost limited to be like, haha, gotcha.
Could any deck that runs Support of the People enjoy this?
Yeah, somebody in chat just suggested a Barrow with Support of the People. In this card.
Baron Greyjoy with support can do it, but Greyjoy doesn't want it. And what location does I mean, I guess I don't know what location.
Are we talking about Breaking Ties now?
No, I don't think does Barra really give a shit about your opponent's locations? I don't feel like that's their problem.
They want to blow up your opponent's Iron Throne.
Yeah, sure. Short of that, fine. But is that why Barra loses games?
No, because Barra has some really good answers to locations in the plot lineup right now.
It's just none of that is why, right? It's a good card without a good home.
That's fair. Okay, on to your Martell cards.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about Breaking Ties at all. Because I love you, LGB, but Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
We'll be talking about that card plenty once it's out in the wild.
Yeah, once it's out and we get to it. I want one interaction noted for Breaking Ties, and then we'll move on. So certain houses rely heavily on Gates of the Moon as spoiled here. You know, certain weaker houses that didn't get good economy cards.
This house seems really bad to me. I hate that card.
Sure. But, like, if you're Barra and you're just, like, desperate for gold, or you're Stark and you're desperate for gold, you don't really have a better option, yeah? Even some Greyjoy decks, really, as you well know, Chris.
I haven't put in any of my Greyjoy decks. I've put it in and then immediately taken it out after, like, 3 games.
That's a mistake. All right, whatever. Either way.
You want to go first in Greyjoy. It's garbage.
Yeah. I think go first, whatever. I don't especially want to go
different
first.
Different playstyles
there. Brains lately. We have very different playstyles in this matter. Either way, breaking ties of a cheap weenie for that after a political disaster is game over. If they save gates,
especially if you go first.
Yeah, exactly.
Take that gold,
you get to,
and then
exactly.
Bye-bye.
And it's a 4-7-1, so you get to go first most of the time. So what it basically says is I get a 5-7-1 plus whatever I kept, and you get fucked on gold for 2 turns in a row. You have literally no gold modifier. Good luck. That is a hardcore fucking. Like I really wish this said non-limited. Like, if nothing, there's 15 other things I wish it said. But non-limited is, like, one of the major ones. Because, like, I mean, this isn't news to anyone who's actually listened to this cast, but, like, I want the game to be played. I want my opponent to play cards. I want to play cards. And I want to see, like, who's got the better deck and who can outplay who. And, like, you going, you can't play cards now is just me shrugging, right? Like, or you playing 50 cards when I can't do anything but shrug is not playing a game. It's watching someone play a game, and I hate that kind of interaction. I think Breaking Ties incentivizes it in a way I'm not happy with.
I agree.
All right, number 10, Beguiled.
That's the 0-cost terminal, knock off any attachment.
Knock off any icon.
Knock off any icon.
Kneel to, yeah.
Yeah. Can we say power creep?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't this just way better than any of the other?
Strictly better because
I disagree.
Because of King
the Terminal. I think Terminal removes a lot of the abilities. Like, a lot of the irritation that I have with the icon removal attachments is that even if your character dies, they just replay the attachment. It's super obnoxious.
I actually think that... Oh, go ahead, Buzz.
On the other hand, if you put this on their Asha and remove the entry icon and she relieves play, you're like, good, great.
I mean, a lot of the problem with the other ones is you also have to see the right one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this does not give.
It's also 0 cost.
You don't have to draw answers whatever the fuck you want to. Like, oh no, I drew the intrigue one and Gregor's my problem right now, and then you're like, Murr. No, that's not.
So it's also, I think it's not completely irrelevant that it's a challenges action. So there's not an immediate interaction I can think of, but I know that there are ways that you can kind of mess with it based on that fact. Yeah. But it also makes it more versatile in that they don't know when you're going to trigger it.
Wait and see, yeah.
It's also an action, so it gets turned off by things like the king, like Jakob's plot, and stuff like that, right? Because the treachery, yep. I think we also have to remember about this card is it's clearly Danny designing evergreen, using evergreen design space to keep an icon removal attachment in Martell, because eventually the first cycle ones are going to rotate, and Danny just wants to put in the evergreen card pool this kind of give Martell access to it. That's the thing we always have to keep track of in boxes, is that boxes, if theoretically we ever get to rotation, boxes don't rotate. So Danny uses design space in the boxes to put permanent redundancy on themes, and I think we have a lot of that in the Martell box, which is one of the reasons why I think because the Martell core set cards are on the weaker end, I think that's why it feels particularly power creepy compared to...
It's very charitable of you, right?
What?
I said that's very charitable of you. Although,
I mean,
problematically, the Stark cards were also on the weaker end, and then they gave it a box, and they stayed on the weaker end.
Well, Stark had the problem of being the first box. Right.
Yeah, they weren't dialed in yet, I understand.
Yeah. All right, number 9, Dark Star. I think this Dark Star is just straight up better than the last one, and the last one was fucking badass.
I love this card.
This card is so good.
The threat of activation, guys.
Stealth stealing activation, the stealing icons on
with
stealth.
Intimidate.
Wait, what are we asking? Which one do you not remember, Buzz? You don't remember the old one?
This one. Where is
this one is a 5/5 mill intrigue intimidate. He's got an action. Sack him to return all participating characters in a challenge to their owner's hand. He is bonkers.
It's very good.
Are we?
Yeah.
One thing. Are we sure that Stark is Intimidate House? Are we sure it's not just this box has a ton of Intimidate for no reason?
It's really just
the Viper right next to him has Intimidate.
The Viper.
I think
Viper
Darkstar is such a cool design for both players. Like using Darkstar against someone is like a cool thing to do, but also like you're sitting against Darkstar. You have to think a lot about like which is worse for me, like him getting this kneel off or him returning all my characters,
bouncing my guy, and then like does the challenge still go off? Because the challenge won't go off. It's a really cool combo. And like, is that an intrigue? Yeah.
In intrigue, you can put in your green blood traders. So if they decide to defend, then you can get a green blood trader.
In military, you can put in your Dornish spies or your Hota that you want to use again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nasty good. And like even if you don't end up triggering him, then you get the kneel. It's just like he is so strong. Number 8 was not originally going to make the list. Jesse convinced me. It's the new Doran Martell. I don't think he's great, except that I feel like with attachment things, he's critical massive icon removal in a way that might not be healthy for the game.
Yes, I agree.
This guy is so fucking bonkers.
Yeah. Anyone have any debates about Doran?
I mean, so the one thing I like about Doran is that he plays against the kind of current Martell style of the characters not really mattering. Like he's a big body that does something very impactful. He will make Martell want to play to the board, which I like.
Yeah. I've really missed like having Martell playing characters at all. And I mean, they look at Great Hall and like, no thanks.
We'll get to more Great Hall shit in a minute.
Yeah, he's a really cool card. I'm really excited. Like, I actually think he's a good Danny answer, but although he will die possibly. But 5 strength, it's hard. It takes a lot of events for Danny to get him. But I do actually think that he could be a good answer to the new Danny.
Kind of.
The return action is really nice.
Wait, what return action?
Doesn't he have a pop people?
No, it's return to. I thought it was
two or fewer challenge icons, right? Yeah. Oh, remove
it from the challenge.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I thought it was return for some reason.
I think it used to.
Can't imagine why. I don't understand what that means. All right, Starfall.
Oh, Starfall's good.
Starfall is
HRD Starfall gonna be a thing.
Starfall is my.
HRD Starfall is like the 4th best Martell deck, which is really saying something because Martell has a lot of broken shit.
I thought Starfall was the best Martell card in this deck. I think it's got the most versatility. It's makes that entire deck type viable, and I think no one is going to have answers for that deck type.
Except Wolf.
I mean, Greyjoy just steals your shit, right?
I mean, honestly, it might make Clansman good again because of Mountains of the Moon.
What? Oh. Again? I was like, they were good the first ones.
Jumpers has previously been
Jumpers has a lot of answers.
Icon stripping.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I have to say, someone mentioned 7-cost Argon, so I have to immediately reply. Number 6, and Buzz is going to yell that this is too low, so I'm just emotionally preparing myself, is Alaria.
Alaria, scroll.
She's the one that drags 3 people into the challenge.
Oh my god, that card.
Yes, fucking yes. So the coolest thing about this one is that it's
Darkstar.
Well, sure, but the coolest thing is it makes Martell have a reason to like, I'm gonna go first this turn.
Yeah. Oh my god, she's so bonkers good. She's amazing. It's just like all of the rest of the cards are stupid good. So,
the best thing I can say about her is she's just a straight up good stuff efficiency card, but she also has a lot of really interesting jank applications, like that stupid event that they have that you get to choose and kill a character if you win by 5 or more. I mean, no, it's going to be a terrible way to use her, But
that's not an event. That's another character.
I mean,
no, it's the like Dornish Revenge. Like after you, it was in the same cycle that the 6-drop Viper.
Yeah,
came
it
out.
was terrible, but it's there. If you lose by 5 or more, you can get a power. You can trigger Dorn. There's lots of fun, stupid shit for Alaria.
Hellholt, yeah.
Number 5.
On a retaliation turn, you're like, I'm gonna shump this power and lose it and gain my stuff, and then I'm gonna do a 2-claim intrigue and 2-claim military unopposed. Let's go.
Yes, that is exactly how that's going to work. Literally. You know what she says?
Oh my god, Night's Watch hates her so much.
You know what she says? No. No one hates her like Greyjoy hates her. Every Greyjoy character has a power icon.
Yeah, that is true.
All right.
But Asha triggers on defense, so if you pull her in...
Oh man, you get that one draw as I get to take your shit off the board and make sure you can't range trigger. I'll take the trade. Number 5 is Obella. I don't know how Obella got printed, but number 5 is Obella.
She's the shuffle girl. Right?
She's the shuffle girl.
Yeah.
I get a power when I'm military claim or intrigue claim.
No. I steal a power. That's so much better.
Very relevantly different.
Very relevant. It's
that's so dumb.
Insane.
And once they've used the set, you can marshal her and then be like, military me. Go ahead.
You know she's flea bottomable, so that's always good.
I mean, how does she even get discarded?
You can just discard
when she's discarded
for
intrigue. No, she's discarded for intrigue claim.
No. She shuffles herself back in the deck.
But you can choose not to trigger the reaction.
Yeah, but
why
I
would you trigger the reaction?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so
That's
she has
not
to get
optional.
March. She has to get March.
No, it's optional.
Seen in flames and stuff like that. But
yeah, sure. But like even that, you know what? I'll take
Pillage.
If you have to Seen in Flames her, is fucking ridiculous. Like, do you run 3 of her?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Why not?
Two, 3. I don't know.
Is
she go in every Martell deck? I assume.
Maybe at least.
Besides straight icon
she's
removal.
not loyal.
She's not loyal. I thought she was loyal.
Not loyal.
In aggro versions, I don't think she. But
Yeah, I don't know if she goes in the wolf, right?
yeah, no, it's very tight.
Yeah. However, this card does go in the wolf. It is Nymeria. The new Nymeria is, I think, my single favorite card in the box because, oh my god, a 2-card swing for losing Dom is.
I like that design
so
too.
often. Yeah.
I would not play this in certain decks.
Which
Because
decks
she's named Nymeria. In Wolf, for example, I played 3x old Nymeria.
Do you?
And she's so bonkers.
Oh, I don't. I've been playing Scott's Wolf build in spoiler. He doesn't. Yeah, it's a very different Wolf build that I've been playing.
I mean, something we realized in Martell team was I play very different from most of the others who played the same deck, but we're very different thought processes on how to play the game, and we all won, but we achieved it differently. And I play super hard to the board, and Nymeria does nothing for me then. This version, but the old version gives me everything.
I want card advantages and options with Martell as a general rule. I want to deny my opponent whatever the fuck they were planning to do, and I want to be able to plan with as many options as possible, and I want as many different variables. So if you do this, I have this answer. If you do that, I have that answer. Or if you want to do this, now suddenly, because of pure variance, intriguable, you can't. And that's what this next
she will
says.
go in very many Martell decks.
I love her.
But she
also
doesn't
love her with
automatically
the card
replace the old one. Definitely not.
Very fair. I think
someone in chat pointed out that you can use Edric to blank your own guy for dominance, so you can lose with her. That's fun.
That is hilarious. Edric Storm isn't loyal at all, is he?
He's not. That's the
I
joke.
don't think so. No.
Thanks, Jesse.
Blank your own guy so you lose dominance.
So
Pro play.
There's other ways to not win dominance with her, but we'll get there later. Or if you're going to win dominance, just get her out of play. I think she's my favorite card in this entire deck, and I think outside of Starfall /Doran decks, she's the Nymeria I'm mostly going to use. Number 3, and the only reason it's not number 1, is the new name of the podcast, the Shadow City Bastard. The only reason it's number 3 and not number 1 is because I'm just assuming Flea Bottom has to get hit eventually, because like this can't exist for the life of the game. It would be like almost unfathomable, right? Like they'd have the level of not give a shit for Flea Bottom and Annals to exist forever. So Shadow City Bastard is great even if there is no Flea Bottom, and I still think it's worth a top 5 rating, but the 3 ratings sort of splitting the difference between with Flea Bottom and without.
Sure.
Shadow City Bastard's dumb. That should not have any icons.
So
yeah, it should be Orphan of the Green Blood.
Yeah.
I have a question.
It should, and it could still cost 2. Just give it no icons.
It's strictly better than Salt Wife, like in so many ways.
Sure.
It has the cost reduction. Cost reduction, right? Yeah.
So
5.
5, yeah.
So I'm not sure it's not the
What
best.
you're saying is it can take all the icons from Danny?
It can.
So is it? I'm not sure in which way it's not the best 2-cost character in the game.
I mean, 2 cost isn't very good, but sure, yeah.
Sure,
Probably.
but like this card is.
Yeah.
It's this or
The only
Greenblood
other
Trader,
2-cost
right?
character I can think is that comes close to is Castle Black Mason.
Oh no, it's better than Castle Black Mason. By the way.
I'm just saying that's another fantastic.
It's
2-drop.
which is Castle Black Mason should never imprint it, but this is better than Castle Black Mason. Greenblood Trader is the other one that it's going to be compared to.
Sure.
Because that 2 card
Greenblood Trader
is really
baller.
important. But like it's one of those, right?
Yeah.
Before we move on, I have a question for Sandy. Which Flea Bottom interaction is more broken? Second Son's Flea Bottom, Sandy, or Shadow City Bastards Flea Bottom?
Is this just how we figure out our podcast name? Is Sandy
Yeah,
Soda?
that's how we figure it out.
Yeah, I definitely think Shadow City Bastard is a more broken interaction.
Yeah.
So should we just rename ourselves the Shadow City
told
Bastard?
everyone that. I feel like Shadow City Bastard is them going fine. You wonder if for those of you who don't want a restricted list, watch this. It's a trick. Sure. Number 2, everyone's gonna yell at me. No one's gonna agree. But once you play with it, Obara-san.
Obara-san.
The new Ariane.
Right.
Oh, small Ariane.
Oh my.
She does 80% of what Ariane does. She doesn't work with She doesn't work with HFK and Olena's informant and
she doesn't work out of
Ramsey.
house.
Yeah, and Ramsey. She doesn't work out of house. So those are very important changes. But if you didn't remember, there's this new Ariane that's fucking phenomenal, and the real problem with running her is old Ariane. And being able to get 80% of old Ariane and new Ariane is a big fucking deal.
Particularly for mono Martell, I think it makes mono Martell jumpers a thing that we haven't, a consistent thing. The Martell fealty builds have always look at my tier list, right? Floated to tier 2. They can take tournaments. They're fun decks, but they just don't have the power level of old Ariane with a banner to sneak in all the really great 5-drops or less. But
and I felt the same way about Martell Reigns for a while. So
yeah. Well, what can she sneak in? She can sneak in either Hota. She can sneak in the Dornish Spy. She can sneak in any of the Nymeria Obala bullshit. She can sneak in the thing that bounces back to hand. She can sneak into Shadow City Bastard, which is dumb. What she can't sneak in is something like Darkstar or the old Nymeria.
Yes, she can. You just need the 6-drop Tyene.
Right. But fine.
On her own, I think is
on her own is what.
On her own, yeah.
That is an interesting point, though, Roy. Is that it does the fact that it adds that Shadow Snake or the Sand Snake clause that allows you to do it with other characters too means you can just really mess around with the board, and they're not going to know what's coming because they don't know who's bouncing.
Yeah, but Ariane was one possibility. But she now basically says you just have to look at this. If they have 3 Sand Snakes, Tyene, Obella herself, and then one of the cheap ones, you're anything within that cost slot can come in. It's very I mean, it's only a challenges action, right? So it does have that.
It's challenges
limit,
action,
right?
and it's once per phase. So
yeah, if you cancel
it's very similar to Arion Sans, that it's less than, and that you can use any Sand Snake. So it's got a downside, and it's only Martell. So it's got a downside, but it's got a real upside too.
I agree.
Don't forget
She's
some of these synergies with. I mean, because it's an interplay effect. There's a lot of like just really obnoxious synergies that come into play, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking stuff like Hota's Axe or any of the like. The field is wide open, which I think is what you guys are saying. Like,
Yeah.
the amount of effects that enables is just super high.
She's just so good. Like the amount of options she opens up. Like I'm looking forward to exploring the shit out of Mono Martell right now.
I'm looking forward to the Harmon Eller deck, as someone in the chat pointed out.
I like Harmon Eller.
Oh my god.
Whoa, it's gonna be so disgusting.
Yeah,
And with all of these
the
sand snakes
open
now,
question.
the bounce sand snake is gonna suddenly be so good. Doria?
Dorea, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh
I mean,
yeah.
it's not suddenly so good. It's amazing right now, but yes.
She was
becomes
she
busted.
was like on the edge, but now like I'm gonna
Nah,
bounce this
man.
5-cost character. Boom.
But it's ugh.
Yeah,
Oof.
barring the gates, Sandy did become much better with the release of this box.
And
And
then
Trey is all-
a
we gotta-
king in the north.
Yeah.
King in the north. Martell is like almost the only house that doesn't consistently fix kings, right?
That's why
So-
you need Martell Wildlings, right? For
Right.
mates and attachment,
Yeah,
right?
so I think what's important in the game as a whole is like a lot of this requires a lot of extra shenanigans. Like thinking in the north, a lot of your decks just won't want. Your Lannister doesn't really want King in the North. What I strongly urge people to do is just start putting 3 Begging Brothers in. Like you don't require any deck building shenanigans. You're gonna have to mess with your cost curve, but not that much. Just run 3 Begging Brothers, and the game gets a lot more interesting as a place to play.
Begging Brother is one of the best 6-cost characters in the game.
It's one of the best
It really
5 cost too, and 4 cost. It's not that great.
And it's not horrible if you have to marshal him for just 3. So
Yeah.
It's kind of horrible.
it's a 3 for
And
3,
you
right?
can flea bottom him.
Yeah.
I hate
So-
Flea Bottom so fucking
yeah.
much.
It's good. I mean,
That was only
So-
number 2.
so I do have a couple questions. Oh, we don't have. She was only number 2. What's number 1?
Dorn.
Oh, Dorn. Oh yeah.
And-
Yes. Obviously.
It's just been spoiled for so long. I just assumed it was
And-
already in the card pool.
And my favorite in the pack is probably Neymaris Guard, and it didn't make the cut.
There were like fucking. I made a list of 30 cards to start with. This
Is that the whole
is-
box?
It's 40. So
Yeah,
there
I
are
mean,
like
there's
10
so many
cards.
good stuff left.
Like this box is just silly. Like
So, like-
there's that barrel location. I think that's the only bad card in the box.
Karth is pretty bad.
Karth is
I don't
pretty
think
bad.
Karth is bad at all. I think Karth is mostly bad until the Martell attachment. Fucking shit takes over the meta, and then you're like, ooh, I'm gonna run a couple Karth. Like, is it good
think
now?
the-
No, but it's got a spot.
Or
I
for
think
some
the
reason.
Lannister event is mediocre, and
Which is-
both the Greyjoy
which
cards
is-
are.
Oh my god,
Which
the
is-
Lannister
both
cards
are
are
fla-
terrible, right? That's the
Marcel
last
is
one.
awesome.
You think Marcel
Marcel's
is
sweet.
bad?
Oh, Marcella. Okay, I'm sorry, but the event.
Extortion's bad though.
What's the
The
event?
event's terrible.
Uh,
the one
is
you
it?
get 3
Intrigue as an
gold
attacker,
sealed.
gain 3 and return 3 of
Oh.
theirs.
Yeah, it look.
No, it's good out of Annals, right? For that combo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's a
there you go.
combo.
Another Lannister combo, mono
No,
Lannister combo.
No, I mean it's neutral.
Sucks for-
It's non-loyal because it's in the box, right? So
And
yeah,
as is
that
tradition,
card
we
is
got our
fun.
usual Dark Wings, Dark Words event off to
Yeah.
Gulltown, which is going to be sweet and Dark Wings. Probably will not see play elsewhere.
I mean, Hota
What draw
is
2
act-
cards? You mean would
Oh,
be?
Yeah. Draw 2, gain 3 icons.
I am actually. I think Night's Watch likes that card.
Ooh, that's true. That is kind of gross.
What's
Uh,
What's
the
the
next
Night's Watch
card?
song guy do? Is there
Oh,
a Night's
no.
Watch
Steal a
song?
gold?
You steal a gold. But it's
Yeah.
limit once per phase. It's so boring.
What's
Man,
limit for phase?
Daron.
Oh yeah.
The seal.
If man, I wish they would limit how often song plots could benefit you. But wait,
song events, not plots.
Yeah, that's sorry.
Yes.
Plots would be fine. You can only reveal at most 2 around.
All right, we're done with this box, right?
Did we talk
Yep.
about Doran
Yes,
at all?
Sandy,
or
you're done with
Doran?
At Prince
ridiculous.
Doran's behest didn't make the cut either.
Yeah, that was probably like 11 or 12. It's
Which
close.
is at Prince Doran's behest?
That's so
Plot.
Martell plots.
Oh my god, that was so close. It's just what was I cutting? like Hota's axe is so stupid.
Hota's axe is also so good.
Dude, if I just
So-
use that on the
so
Shadow City
good.
Bastard with Flea Bottom every round and on nothing else, that's amazing.
If you could HRD Dorn, though, my friend in chat,
Yeah.
busted.
Someone in chat wanted to HOD Dorn, which
I mean, I
gives
want
me the
to.
vapors just thinking about it.
I mean, I want to as well.
I mean,
Can I? Can we errata for that?
look, I will gladly let people HRD Dorn if you can HRD the wall. I will. I'll
And
know what,
high
I will-
HRD.
High Garden?
Tower,
Yeah.
High Tower,
Yep.
yeah.
Wait,
Are
time
you-
out.
High Tower,
You know what? With Luis's plot coming out, let's do it.
Not
You can't
High Tower is
start.
loyal. Dorn is loyal. It's only the wall that gets bounced there. So
Yep, exactly.
It's fair.
Is it bounced? I thought it was discarded.
Discard a loyal card to bounce a whatever.
non-loyal location, character and location.
Is there anything we need to say about Dorn? It's absurd.
It's super busted. Put a limit on it, as Tony says. Like Jesus.
I mean, everything in the game should have a 3 limit. Probably everything that, like, without a limit should have a 3 limit. Remember when that was
thought it
like
was-
a big push around Corset?
Yes.
Everything.
Every Corset
that
tester
got
wanted
the
it, and they were like,
I will
nope.
point out.
The fact that we
This
got
does
the one
make.
version of that rule 6 months before the core set.
Yeah. Silly. They
I
just
do think
forgot.
this makes Martell Wildlings worse, Dorn, because it increases your reserve, meaning your crow killers will have to kneel more often.
You got it
But
there.
I don't think Martell Wildlings wants to lose challenges. I don't think that's how that Martell deck works. I could be wrong. I'm a noob and a pleb. But I'm pretty sure that Martell Brotherhood Wildlings is not about losing challenges. I could be wrong. Again, I'm not the deck builder in our playtest group or a good player.
Someone thinks Rad. I don't know who that is. I'm not going to even try and say it. But someone thinks Dorn is what stirs the meta. I don't think Dorn in this box. I think Dorn is important and relevant and amazing, but I don't think it shakes the meta. I don't think that's what Dorn does. I think Dorn makes already great decks a little more consistent, but I think it's stuff like the extra icon control, the extra
Shadow City
bounce into
Bastard.
play. Yeah, that's the kind of
Breaking
thing that
Ties.
shakes. Yeah, that's the kind of, like, because when I'm building a deck, now I have to consider what Shadow City Bastard is hitting every single time. I can't deck build around Dorn. I just kind of have to shrug and be like, yep, they're going to draw some cards.
I mean, I think, though, we need to go back to earlier statements you've said. That one of the things that's holding Martell back was hand size problems. That Martell wants to run all these 4 to 5 reserve plots, but also hold cards in their hand, which was sort of the tension that made Martell balanced and interesting. This is one of your big points. All right.
It was
Like,
your
but
big
now
point,
that
yeah.
Yeah, but so long
and,
ago.
and Buzz as well, right? But now that Retail, if you have Dorn out, becomes a 5 reserve plot, makes it much better. Or First Snow becomes a 7 reserve plot, right? Because the 6 reserve, right? Of First Snow. Like, there's a lot of really gross interactions that make mono Martell, but also Martell banners as well. Martell main faction. Much more consistent. It's not slightly more consistent, much more consistent, because they now can hold one more card in their hand, and one more card in a Martell player's hand is one more card that's going to fuck you up in a way that no other faction besides Targaryen can do.
No, that's also not fair. It's very similar to what Highgarden does.
Sort of. Like, you still discard a lot to reserve.
You mean High Tower?
High Tower,
High
excuse me.
Tower. Yeah, they're the same. I hate
Yeah.
the Tyrell locations.
But
They have
like,
all of this
but
so
no,
resonance.
like because what Martell wants to do is play control, have cards in hand, yada yada. What Terrell wants to do is maintain tempo and keep pressure on and keep playing cards and keep having enough gold to play cards, and like that's what Hightower accomplishes. What they accomplish in terms of their respective houses, I think, is not the same, but almost exactly the same.
That's true. Also, we are past the 2 hour mark and have one more segment to go. So we should probably
what is
agree
our last
that
segment? I thought we were done.
We have one shorter segment though. It's not.
It is a shorter segment, but
Chris, this is a classic Second Sons length. Like we haven't done like a
God,
2 hour,
a solid
40-minute episode.
I've gotten like 2 games on the iron thrown in. Like,
All right. Sandy,
we all agreed Dorn is busted, and we're all gonna love playing it and hate playing against it.
So I think like the problem is, what house do you want to play that's not Martell now?
Targaryen.
I mean, I've never wanted to play a house besides Martell, but
Yeah, really, right? It's like
I haven't liked how they're.
I've been playing Martell. I'm gonna stop playing Martell because I'm a fucking hipster.
You're such a hipster.
I won't be able.
Buzz
to
is
play
going to go to
Martell for a while.
Baratheon, I think. That's where I'm going to see. Buzz is going to become a Barra player now.
Baron Stark is what I've been playing lately, but I think I'm
Right.
gonna move to Targaryen when Martell is prevalent.
Dude, no, because Targ is going to be just the other big faction everyone's going to play, right? Because Targ has a lot of the answers to Martell bullshit.
But
Just
I'm gonna
say
play
Danny when you meet
HRD. Forced March though, guys. This didn't make the cut. Forced March. Oh my god.
oh, I love Forced March.
Oh yeah.
It's fine.
All right,
Good.
but I'm going to use my prerogative, even though I have basically unlimited time because I don't have to go to work tomorrow. I will use my prerogative as the host to, you have at least your kid's birthday. I just have to walk the dog in the morning. I will to move us on to the next segment. So, Chris, you are in charge. This is your baby along with Jesse's.
What is this? I missed
So,
this.
For Aaron and those of you who didn't watch last night's episode of Wars to Come, not last week's, which is what I was watching.
Sure.
Our podcast showdown with Wars to Come now has an official name. It is the Pod of Payne, which I'll take partial credit for that. Alex Esposito suggested it in chat the first week that we discussed it, the Podrick Payne connection, and so I sort of workshopped it into that hilarious little bit of dad joke. So it has a name. It has a charity aspect to it now, and how that's going to work is regardless of which team wins or loses the challenge, for each game that a team loses. So if, say, Wars to Come beats us 4-2, we would have to, for each of those 4 losses we take, donate $50 to the charity of our choice. We don't have a charity picked out yet, but it's looking like we will be choosing an educational charity of some type because we have 3 teachers on the podcast. And so
Are there
I thought we
any
donated
teachers
to
on Wars
their
to Come?
charity, and they donate to ours.
So if we lose, we donate. We donate to their charity, correct?
yes, correct.
And then if we
Okay,
win,
yeah.
they donate to ours. So since we have the
Yes.
teachers, we're going to do an education, help the kids.
And that's so there's going to be money to a couple really good charities, regardless of the results. And we'll probably, like Jesse said, do an additional fundraising thing for both those charities at some point.
Wait, can we specifically donate money to illegal kids who want to go to college just to piss off people we don't like?
Yes, that is
If you
one of
can
the
find
charities.
if you can find a
here.
charity that does that, I'm in on that. It sounds good.
I mean, I just know illegal kids that want to go to college, but also fine.
Well, we'll find. Aaron, I am also on team finding one of the many excellent charities that help kids, undocumented kids, go to school. Like I'm currently working with a kid who's trying to get into college, who's undocumented. She was a victim of human trafficking, so I understand that that's an important thing.
You know what
Powerful
kills me more than anything else, and this is the wrong podcast for this, but the El Salvadorian people that were here completely illegally, and it was like, get the fuck out. And I was like, wait, what? And they were just like, oh, we're all getting deported now. I was like, what?
Yikes.
You've
That's
been here for
scary.
15 years. It was
We
a
could
nightmare.
go on for
Yeah, we
for hours
could.
about this. Yeah.
One last procedural thing is both teams have agreed that annals will be banned for the tournament, so nobody's going to be playing annals on either side, so we don't have to worry about combo. And there will be a deck banning aspect, but the details on that haven't been fleshed out yet, so we're gonna we'll announce that later. But the last thing we have to do is 2 weeks ago on Wars to Come, maybe 3 weeks ago now, they ranked all 6 of us. And we have to, in turn, rank all 6 of them, including their ringer that they brought in, Chase Salzberg. And so let's go 6-1, and let's get some ratings going for them. So who is their
the worst player?
Yes, 6.
It's Jesse,
So
Chris, Alex.
Yeah,
who more?
Alejandro.
Alejandro, CT, Jesse, Alex Black, Chase Salzberg, and Ethan Simpson.
So Schoenthal, you're playing Alex Black as the North American champion off.
Oh goodness.
Do we remember where they ranked?
Yeah,
have their
yeah, I
list?
do. I got it.
I don't.
I got
so,
it. Relax.
You got to open. So what is their? Hold on. What's their list?
Meta against them? I'm not.
Yes.
I don't love the idea of metaing against them, but
No, but the North American. Look, I just want fun matches because I don't actually care who wins.
fair enough.
I don't think we're interesting because we're somehow good. I think we're interesting because everyone else is not interesting.
All right, hold on. I got to write that down as the episode title. So go ahead, Aaron. I'm sorry.
I think that Schoenthal and Alex Black is the most interesting matchup as the back-to-back Gen Con. I think that Buzz should probably be playing Alejandro. Do we think that's a cool match? Because I think that's a really cool match. Yeah.
Yeah, I could get behind that.
I don't know.
Sid is janky as fuck, and I should be giving him Jesse, but I really want to play Jesse. So I would like to give Sid CT.
I think Roy or Sid getting CT is right in terms of the closest in play skill.
Okay.
Right,
That's such an insult to CT.
So what?
Closest of the
For me.
remaining players in play skill.
So now what should no? So Roy gets Chudsberg.
Oh God, I'm gonna get rolled.
Is he good? I've never met him, I think.
Yeah,
Just play Political Disaster. Yeah, all he plays is
I
builders,
have an
right?
idea of what I will play against him.
Sandy and Ethan.
I get Jesse, and Sandy gets Ethan, and I want to challenge Jesse personally because Jesse should be watching. He actually may just be
He's
playing.
watching.
All right, so Jesse, I challenge you to a Klansman off.
Oh my God, Jesse just
That
came.
sounds like a
He
Russian
just like
word.
But
he like
wait,
I can already see it on his face. He's just like,
I'll lose a Klansman off. I just want to play him.
they actually did rank us, though. We can propose these matchups, and if they accept, we can do it. But we should rank
Buzz
them as well.
rank us.
I
Buzz
agree.
wants us to rank. All right. So here we get with. All right.
Who's the
Let's
best?
get in the
worst?
fight. Who is going to get in? Who wants to get in the fight about who's better? Is Schoenthal better than Buzz, or is Buzz better than Schoenthal? Who's
We're not
our
ranking
number one?
ourselves.
No,
We're
not
No,
ourselves.
we're ranking them.
We're
So
ranking
I think their best player is Alejandro. No offense to Alex. but I think
He was
Alex-
ranked number one, wasn't he?
Yes, I agree with Alejandro being
I think.
Oh,
the best.
Oh wait.
No,
Oh, we're ranking.
I think Alex is a better player.
you think
But-
Alex is better than
Alejandro?
Alejandro?
Yeah.
I think Alex
I
is
think
second,
you might be
and it's
alone
close.
on that. I think Alex is fairly clearly second, but I think Alex is second.
I have not seen much of Alejandro, but I've built a lot with Alex and talked with him and stuff. I have a feeling that Alex is better, but I don't know. So close.
Look, I don't
I
think
think what
any
makes-
of us know.
I think what makes it difficult to assess it is Alex, one, had a better year last year, and two, went to larger events overall than Alejandro
Sure.
did. So
Also, Alejandro
the sample
is-
size is bigger for Alex. Like
Alejandro
my
is
gut
a
and
play
heart says
skill
Alejandro.
player, and Alex Black is a creative deck builder player. So they're different styles.
I just feel like Alejandro at a table is one of the top players in the world. I don't know if he's always going to play the right deck, or I don't know if he's always going to, but I feel like if you sit, like I watched him play a lot at War because I'm nosy, and I know I wasn't supposed to, but like shit, my team didn't matter. So like I just watched players that I hadn't really seen play a fair amount, and he was just extra careful and extra good in every move he made. And I was
Yes.
very impressed.
He's an incredible technical player.
Yeah.
Mhm. I agree. He's one of the best technical players in the U.S.
Okay.
So
I
I would.
would
So
see you guys on
Alejandro,
that then.
Alex, then CT.
Then it's got to be CT just through sheer results, right?
Mhm.
Like CT's been at the
CT
top a
any
lot of
good?
times.
He was
CT
second
is
in Canadian Nationals. I don't know if you've heard.
CT
He
is
played comps.
so CT is good. CT is, no offense, CT. This is not an insult. I promise. When I want to insult you, you'll fucking know. I think CT is very good. I think CT is good on a level a lot of us are good. Like, not a lot. That's not fair. But like CT is good on a level that like the practiced great player is good, and CT is better than almost anyone at choosing the right deck. And I think that's really relevant.
And And in CT's favor, like CT was probably the most consistent player in North America last year. Like the number of big events he went to, the number of big events he made the cut at.
Really fucking good. Sure. It's just I don't think CT is better than Dark Nudge. I don't know if CT is better than Matt. I don't think CT is better. Like I don't think CT is better. Gammon. Yeah.
Gammon?
I don't think he's better than Matt.
I think CT is better than him.
Better than
I mean
Matt.
Have you seen Matt play?
Just personal. Yeah.
When I've seen Matt like play with the deck he's practiced at, he's
Didn't I beat Matt once?
I think they're both
I've
very
never beaten
good.
CT.
No,
once
Matt Gaiman you're talking about?
Yeah.
I lost to him in Worlds 2015
I mean, we're really,
because I forgot to draw from the Night's Agenda.
We're splitting a lot
every
of
single round.
Yeah.
Seriously?
So CT's third. I think
that's embarrassing.
In the first,
more simple than this.
Round.
Okay. We're talking too much in general about CT. I think CT is perfect. I do think CT is not as good as Alejandro. Nope. And I think he's I would rank CT higher than Alex, but that's my own personal bias.
I agree they're close.
But they're close, and so just ranking Alex above CT is
I think CT is really
Alex has a card design.
Yeah, Alex has a card design.
So
CT doesn't.
The real question is CT better than Jess?
Can we not?
Let's not.
Because we all think the answer is no. All right, let's. So next,
then I think Chase or Jesse is next. I'm not clear on that.
I have no idea how good Chase.
I think Jesse
is very good.
Chase is very good at the decks he plays, but he only plays a couple of specific decks.
Unlike Jesse, who is fantastic across the card.
So,
as a player.
I've played against both of them. I think Chase playing Builders, Roy, no offense to you, he was by far the best technical player I've ever seen play that deck.
I agree.
I would have beaten 100%. Any other player really badly.
Except me.
Except me.
No, I mean,
I have an excellent Builders record against you, Sandy.
Well, the draw that I had against him, I trissed his wall. Like turn 1, and he still came back and beat me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's a really good player. Dan, I think played against him and almost lost. I don't know, but I've also played against Jesse, and Jesse's a good player too. But Jesse tends to make mistakes.
Says CT is better than Alex, and Jesse doesn't even like any of his co-hosts. So really, that's got to count for a lot.
I agree. I think Chase is an incredibly excellent player. The only person who's better at Builders than him would be Wama. And Wama is the one who created Builders, so along with Florian. But I think Chase is very narrow. And I think Wisconsin would agree. Like Chase plays like 2 or 3 decks, and he plays them incredibly well. But he's not like just give Chase a deck and he's gonna roll people with it. So I definitely think he belongs below these people, the other people on the list. So just because of that, maybe Chase will be the new Sam Bratz in 2 years, but. Right now, I'd say, yeah. And he's going to roll me, I think, because he and I are in the same spot.
Somebody once told me the world was going to roll me, but that's a different matter.
So we're putting Chase as number 4?
Gonna roll you. That was dumb.
We're putting Chase as number 4?
Yes. Although, seriously, everyone should have played that Lanny fucking jumper deck at Stolic that year.
And so that
I tried super hard. That puts Jesse or Chase. We put Chase above Jesse.
I mean, that's what currently is.
Can I ask a real question? Like a real question? Because I've seen them both play a lot. And like, CT, I love you. I'm not sure you're better than Jesse. I'm not. I know you have better results than Jesse. Jesse plays some weird shit.
CT is better than Jesse, I believe.
You think so?
Yes, I do.
I think Jesse has that.
Or Jesse?
Jesse. Jesse has that weird, like, I'm going to play some weird janky bullshit that works a lot.
Sure.
Maybe he's better. Yeah. It's not. I think
CT is clearly third. I don't think there's any.
Yeah. In terms of results and stuff.
I mean, I have no problem
watching them play. I'm not sure that it's like a significant margin. It's fine. Yes. I'm wrong often.
Aaron has seen Jesse play a lot, and I agree. Jesse is really good.
Play a lot.
And I love Jesse, and Jesse knows I love him. I think he's I think weirdly, even though Jesse seems to be everywhere in the Thrones community right now, Jesse is actually very underrated as a player. because people I think know him more as like the nice guy who vomited in the bushes at Worlds shots for plots. But Jesse is very underrated, and I think this year 2018 is going to be Jesse's like he came running onto the scene in 2017, but he's going to have a real breakout this year. I would not be surprised if we're talking about what card Jesse is going to design by the end of the year. But I think I would argue putting him above Chase, to be honest. I thought we'd already ranked Jesse.
I'm fine between Jesse and Chase. I don't have a major opinion there because I haven't seen Chase play a lot, so. I'm fine Jesse 4, Chase 5.
So do we want Jesse 4, Chase 5, or Chase 4 and Jesse 5? Let's do a vote here. So I'm
Chase
voting
4,
for Jesse
5. I want to play Jesse. Shut up. Chase 4, Jesse 5.
Okay. So
in terms of skill, I think I put Jesse over Chase.
All right, so that's 2 votes for Jesse over Chase.
No,
especially because we get deck bans. So if Watch comes up and we just want to ban it and let Chase not play that deck.
I don't even know Chase. I don't want to play him. It's no fun.
All right, fine. Aaron wants to play Jesse, so we'll put Jesse.
No. We are rating them. We have given them a proposed. The matchups we did first is what we're proposing. And if they want to use straight rankings, if they want to use rankings, that's fine with us.
I like that.
Okay, so are we ranking Jesse?
Yes, ranking Jesse over Chase, I think.
Over Chase. Okay,
yes.
Cool. I have a list here that I'm trying to keep. All right, and so that leaves just Ethan in last place then, right?
Yes.
Am I missing one of those?
I think Ethan would not be too necessarily displeased with that himself compared to the August cast members that he's with.
I like Ethan as much.
Ethan's
as
a great guy and not a bad player, but compared to the
to be honest,
I've never seen Ethan or Chad play.
To be honest, Ethan actually has a huge advantage because I think that I mean this hugely as a compliment. I think there's a huge skill drop off between the best players on Wars to Come and the worst players on War to Come, and I think Sandy and I are much closer in skill level than we are to Aaron, and like Sandy and I as the 2 worst are closer in skill level than Ethan is to anyone else, but that's not an insult to Ethan. That's just how good the Wars to Come players are.
Yes, exactly.
I also think we're at a point in the game, and I've said this before in multiple places, where both Sandy and Roy badly underestimate themselves. I don't think I'm by
Sandy
any
definitely does.
I don't think I'm by any look. I don't think I'm by any means bad. I think that Sandy plays shit decks because he insists on making his own decks, which is a mistake, which I think he's learning right now. And I think Roy just lacks confidence, but I think they are both more practiced and better players than I am by a fair amount right now. And trust me, it kills me to say that about Sandy, but it's just, but it's just true right now. Like when I'm in practice, I know I'm really good. It's just I'm still working my way back up to game shape.
Sandy, all right, I will. Here's the Roy Rogers.
Although in fairness, time out. One more second. I played fucking awesome at Roy's tournament. Like, I played like a monster in multiple games and actually like saw plays and outplayed opponents and then just didn't draw cards. And what are you going to do?
Sandy surprised himself last year with how well his 2017 was, which is he ran actually pretty hot all year. He did well in Europe, then he did well at Star Pike, then he had a good year. But the back part of Sandy's year and into this year was not very good, and I feel like Sandy is in his own head about it. Like, I watched him at Thrones War steadily work himself into insanity. Like, he had a bad day and then worked himself into oh my god, the fact that I rolled IO Worlds and made the cut at these big giant tournaments doesn't matter at all because I did poorly at Thrones War.
So in fairness,
he's much better than he actually gives himself credit for. Now that's not saying that he Sandy, you and I are not as good as Buzz, we're not as good as Chris, we're not as good as Alex or other people like that, but you are much better than you give yourself credit for.
I think you guys are both about, and I've watched all of you play a fair amount. I think you guys are about as good as Sid. With a real deck, you guys just need to not get. Roy needs to not get in his own head, and Sandy needs to not add bad cards to decks.
Thanks, Aaron.
You know I'm not wrong. Like, look, while I'm still not a great player right now, I'm still a great deck builder. or a tweaker
think-
at the very least.
Yeah, I think I would take a deck that you and Dark Notch build. Actually, even in 1.0, I think that was true. Didn't I?
Yeah.
That Bara recursion deck that I like.
That wasn't even ours. That was the Stolic winning deck.
Yeah.
Me publicly trying to work Sandy out of the yips is boring for most people. So we will
Yeah,
end this.
I appreciate the sentiment. Thank you.
We'll end this segment. So we're really excited to do this. It's after Jeff's tournament, right, Chris? Is when we're picking this up.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have anything ready before then, and I won't be available for games or commentary by then. So I think starting it in April is probably a good place to be.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not doing much traveling in April. So
April is much better than May. May is all the tests that I teach to.
yeah, and yeah. So that is the end of this episode of Second Sons. Our next episode will be 2 weeks from now, so it'll be the week after Jesse's tournament. So we will have the post Jesse's tournament discussion. So this will be our next episode will be on April 3rd. Hopefully we'll be able to have Sid. We'll be able to have the whole crew together. Maybe we'll try and get the winning regent, depending on who the winning regent is. Please do me a favor and vote if you're interested in coming to Thrones Thronetoberfest on the East Coast. Please vote in the poll. I'm going to be putting my article about the tiers list up after this episode ends. Does anyone else have any other announcements or things that they want to plug here at the end?
Right now, it's Noah's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Noah.
Happy birthday, Noah.
So
Happy
anything?
birthday, Noah.
Oh, lost Chris's video, at least for me.
Okay.
So anything people want to announce or say or do? Because I have one final thing, actually.
Go.
Tom Malucci's tournament, the third stop of the Northeast Championship Tour is in April. So clear your calendars. Go to the Northeast Championship Tour Facebook page. Say you're going to come to Tom's tournament in Norton, Massachusetts. It'll be great. It's themed around Lannister. We have a really awesome Lannister house card for you. Like, it's really, really cool. Like, and you'll be able to buy the Barra house cards and other things like that, and the Stark house cards when you're there. So please come to the third stop of the Northeast and East Championship Tour. Cool. End of episode. See you guys.
See you guys.